All right. Hello, everyone. It's been a minute since I've been done a podcast or a live, and I thought the weekend or the week before Christmas was going to be the perfect time. So to make a comeback or to reappear, however you want to look at it, and I, just because there's not a great deal going on right now in Daniel's case. Um, we're working on post conviction, but I thought there's really nothing. I have a newsworthy event from Oklahoma, a couple of newsworthy things from Oklahoma that I'll share. But I just thought, you know what? It's been a crazy year in the courts, civil suits, criminal trials, and all that crazy fun. And I know a lot of us love to watch, the different trials that are live streamed for us. And we all, I think I speak for the four of us here anyway, that we all find it pretty fascinating. So before I get started, I've invited as many of my friends from Foul Play as I could to join me today. And so we're going to say hello to them to start with. First of all, I am honored and privileged to have Dr. Silkman and from Foul Play, and I have Alice and Susan, and I believe Jack and I don't recall will be here very shortly as well. Oh, there's Jack popping in, and so I'm just going to go around and kind of like an open mic or reading with the crew, just go around and let everyone say hello. And, you know, I'm not on a timeline. I'm not particular about, I mean, I don't, not to mention I read and I'm at most of the Foul Play podcasts. I know how long we can go. So we may just go as long as we go today, and that'll be that, because I think we have lots of questions and lots of cases to discuss and talk about. So with that being said, I'm going to have my honored guest, Dr. Silkman, start with his introductions.
Well, thank you very much, Rhonda. I don't know about an honored guest. It's always great to do podcasts with yourself, and you do so much for the community, and you help so much with Foul Play. Oh, hey, you're part of the team, and it's great to be here. I'd like to welcome everyone on the panel and everyone in chat. And thank you so much, Rhonda, for inviting me. You've really been missed, and I'm here to find out about new cases that I haven't really delved into. And thank you so much. Yeah, let's see where it goes.
Yep, you bet. Thank you. Susan, inexplicable Susan. Hello.
Hi, Rhonda. Hello,
Hi,
everyone.
sis.
So good to have you. So good to have you back, Rhonda, on the
I am so happy
YouTubes.
to be
Yay.
back. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you
I'm
are you
excited. I'm
freezing?
happy for you.
Oh, thank you so much.
I am freezing today. It's cold here. It's 0 degrees and
Oh,
holding. It's just
and
gonna get a
holding.
little colder tonight. Yeah, we
Yeah,
just had just a giant cold wave snap come through us, like
yeah.
just bombarded us overnight. But anyway, making it through. I'm all bundled up in my blanket,
Good, good, good. That's good to
so I'm
hear.
looking
Yeah,
forward
it's
to this. Yeah.
oh, thank you. I'm looking forward to. I know that you watched some of the trials that I watched as well. So, so
Yeah.
I'm hoping to hear from you on some comments, because we're just going to do, like I said in the title, it's just going to be a potpourri of different cases and trials for the year. So I look forward to your comments and your questions and everything that you'll share with us. So thank you.
This
All
this year
right.
was just chock full
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
interesting cases. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's hard to. excuse me, it's really hard to choose. Um, you know, which one was the most fascinating, because there are several. So, um, and I can guarantee, if there's
Yeah,
anybody in
great.
chat who doesn't want to hear anything about the Depp v. Heard trial, then at some point you'll probably just want to leave. But don't leave yet. But at some point you probably will want to leave, because there's no way we can do this podcast without talking about that trial. So, but yeah, I'm really excited
Yeah.
to have you join again, Susan, and stay warm. So, okay.
Thanks
Hey,
for
Jack.
having me, Rhonda.
Oh, of course, every time, anytime, anytime. And Jack, good to see you, brother.
Hey. What up?
What up?
Yeah, it's quite something here. We're expecting. I don't know. There's big snowstorms, all I know, and it's supposed to get like really cold. I think it's going down in Siegel Indigenous tonight. I think.
Oh,
No, I'm sorry. Loaded now. It's only 17. It's tomorrow. It's gonna get cold tomorrow.
yeah.
The high tomorrow is 17, and the low is 4.
Oh man.
Yeah. And of course it's snowing. I don't know how much. I think there's like not quite a foot of snow forecasted, but we'll see.
Yeah. Oh gosh. I feel really horrible complaining, because I mean we're at what am I, 23 right now, and so that's cold. I mean, it's fucking cold.
Yeah.
What can you say,
Well,
right? But
gets below 25. Gets below 25. It don't really matter. It's just cold as hell.
Yeah, you're not leaving the house, right?
Not unless I have to.
Exactly.
Hey, it's good to see you back on the air and
Oh, so
doing
exciting.
doing your thing and getting back solidly back in Daniel's case and
Yeah.
with regular updates but I know things have changed and we'll get more into that with the civil suit and what's coming next and all that stuff. But yeah, we definitely can't make it through this evening, I don't think, without talking about JD and yeah, she was just in the news just recently. There's more stuff that's happened, and I know that people are probably a little tired of talking about it, but to me, you can't hardly get through 2022 without discussing this case because of her and her bomb. I'm not going to think of the right word, but outrageous actions. So, But that said, I know Alice wants to talk a bit before we get going here.
Yeah. We'll hear from Alice, and then we'll say hi to everybody in the chat, and then we'll get going. I'm gonna share a few things first, and from Oklahoma, and then we'll get. I'll start with. I think I'm going to start with Darrell Brooks. So we'll.
My mic's not too loud, is it?
No, listen, you sound good. You're not scratchy. You're not cutting in and out. So it's good to me.
Perfect.
Yeah. So thanks for being here, Jack. I really appreciate it.
You bet.
And Alice in Wonderland. Oh, wrongful conviction. Hi.
Great to have you back.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be back. Thank you. Yeah,
I'm sitting here having a wee chuckle to myself, listening to you Americans who's always got the lovely sunshine and everything like that. And it's cold. It's always bloody cold here in Scotland.
I know.
No, we've had some snow, and then we had rain, and it went to ice, so it was like an ice rink outside. And then we got more rain, and it's all melted now. But we're getting more snow over the next week or so. So we can't win. As I say, Scotland's like having all the bloody seasons, the rain, sleet, snow, and sunshine on the same bloody day. But we'll get there.
Yeah. Well, what was it? I don't know how many years ago we had in the U.S. We had what was it, the Polar Express or Polar Freeze or something, and this year we're getting what are they calling it, a freeze bomb or some, I don't know what names they're giving things, but yeah,
that was like us. Like I think it was last year or a couple of years ago. It was the Beast from the East.
Uh,
And it brought loads of snow, freezing temperatures, and things like that. You know, I think it's funny how they make up all these funny names for it instead of just saying it's going to be bloody freezing on
Yeah.
such and such day and such a day. But they have to make it, you know, it's the same
Yeah.
here now. In the UK, they've started naming like the big storms and things like that are due to come in, you know. And that never used to happen here. It used to be there's a big weather front coming in this way, or there's a weather front coming. Now it's Storm Eileen and Eugene, and you know, yeah, they sort of have one for each letter of the bloody alphabet. It's like, why not just say there's bloody weather coming?
Well, they name all of our hurricanes they used to name them all female names. And that then, you know, we got politically correct and whatever else we got, woke or whatever. I don't think it was woke then.
No comment.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Doc.
now the women, yeah. So now they just name them, they just go down the alphabet A through, I don't know that they ever get to Z, but what do you got to say about that, Doc?
Well, yeah, I mean, the least said, the better, I suppose. But, you know, naming conventions, they do change with the times, I suppose, you know.
Yeah.
What used to happen in the history, it's all part of history, and you got to get with the times, I suppose.
Yeah, got to keep progressing whether we like it or not.
Oh, that's correct.
Hey, I'm not saying anything by this, but you know, maybe we should start from Z to A. Zoe comes to. Oh, wait, never mind. I said that I'm unmuted. Never mind.
Because since our storms never make it to Z, our hurricanes. So, all right. Well, I want to do a quick hello to everyone in chat. I see some new faces, which I find amazing, and I'm so excited about that. And then I have some regulars too, which is always wonderful, of course. So I want to say hello, Dark Side, one of my mods. How are you, my lovely Irish beauty? Remember, Alice, when I used to think you were the one in Ireland?
Yeah, that's right. You used to say I'm the Irish lass, and I'm like, no, Scottish lass. Dark Side's the Irish one.
Yeah, I used to send her green hearts and say Irish things all the time, and I was like, oh, geez. Okay, well, now I know. I don't forget anymore. So we have Dark Side. Of course, we have Jack and Doc, and I don't recall. Cherie is having laptop troubles, but I believe Santa is bringing her some laptop relief, if I'm not mistaken, for Christmas. So that will be exciting. And Case 10, it's so great to see you over here. Hi, persons of interest. Yeah, that's us. And Catnit, hi, sweetheart. Another one of my fabulous mods who I love and adore. And Neverly, I know Neverly is going to try to pop in with us later. She's at work. Gosh, I'm lucky because I work for the school district, so I have the same days off that the kids have off of school. So unfortunately, I'm not a salaried employee, so I don't get paid for that time, but it's okay. So Catnit, thank you so much for being here. And let's see. Case 10 says, I feel like I'm surrounded by wrenches. No offense to anyone that doesn't have a wrench. No.
We have Barb in chat. We also have Rosie 2911. Hello, Rosie, and welcome. Nice to see you. I don't know if we've had you in chat before, but it's lovely to see new names coming into the chat.
Yeah, I especially want to say hi to Barb because I don't know. I'm pretty sure that Barb's never been to my YouTube channel before. So thank you for being here, Barb. I really appreciate it. And yeah, Rosie, I'm not sure. Rosie, are you from Daniel's case? I don't remember exactly because I feel like I remember your name, but I'm not sure. I don't remember for sure if it's if that's where I
Dark,
remembered it from.
yeah, Dark Side
Rosie
says that, yeah,
before.
Rosie's been here
Okay.
before.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's great. I'm glad to have you guys back. I am so glad to have everybody here. You know me from a long time ago. Oh gosh, I'm terrible. I don't know. I'm so sorry, Rosie. I can't remember what case it is that we're familiar with each other. I apologize. But I know so many fabulous people. I have so many fabulous, wonderful people in my life that I can't remember everyone who where I know everyone from. So yeah, you're fine, no problem, Rosie. So I mentioned that I wanted to talk about a few things in Oklahoma first, briefly. I'm not going to spend a ton of time, but I wanted to share. It's been a really long time since I've done this, so I will appreciate some patience, because also having inadvertently paid for the year of StreamYard. I things are different now. It looks different, so I'm not really sure. I'm still kind of playing around in there, but at any rate, I wanted to give everyone, for those of you who are familiar with Richard Glossip. Richard Glossip has been on death row since, oh my goodness, I'm trying to remember, 19. Well, I know that Joyce Gilchrist was still in the crime lab, so it's been at least that long. He's actually been in the actual death chamber itself, like, getting strapped or being strapped to the table, 3 times already. And it's really, really horrific. I can't imagine just being on death row for that many years and being innocent and having proof that you're innocent. And then I I can't imagine getting strapped to that gurney at least twice. I don't think the third time he got strapped, but he was just hours away. And so he's an innocent man, and it's really, really horrific that he's gone through everything he's going through. And he's had a stay. So in Oklahoma, they were on a moratorium for executions, I think for like 5 years, and they just barely started executions again in 2021, something that Oklahoma is very proud of, might I add. And so this is from the Death Penalty Information Center. It's deathpenaltyinfo.org. I put this particular story in the description, so if you want to go through and read it later, you can do that, but it is in the description already. I'm so proud, because I normally never get any of my links in the description. Yay for me. So good job for me. Anyway, he was on moratorium, but he was still on death row. Nobody got taken off of death row during the moratorium, and the moratorium was due to problems with the execution drugs that they were using. So it was really they claim they fixed it after the 5 years, but they didn't really fix the drugs, because since they've started doing their executions again, at least 2 of the executions that they've done have had, and I'm trying to think, I think they've had 6 or 8 executions since they started again this year. And man, Oklahoma's just, they can't wait. That's just like, they live to execute these men, and especially the innocent ones, which sounds horrific. But it's just true. And if they're not on death row, then they're very much so, just like Wisconsin. They will die on the hill of their case, if that's what it takes. They will never ever submit to any mistakes or possible anything. They won't admit to mistakes, but they also will die before they will ever. Hi, Cherie, you made it on. Before they would ever, they're just like, they just remind, it's just like Josh Call and Wisconsin in that respect, and probably any other state that nobody wants to admit, that they've made a mistake or that anything like that. And so that's let's see here. Barb says that's called murder. It shouldn't be legal. Yeah, we're all kind of feeling, it's been a really rough road for Richard Glossip. Now, and hello to Behind the Magic. Thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate having you here. So what's going on with Richard was, as soon as they were able to start doing executions again, which sounds so horrific to say that way, but as soon as Oklahoma was given the go-ahead that they could start executing death row inmates again, they made a list of who we're going to be, like who we're going to get done first and how quick can we get them done. In the meantime, there were, I'll just read this first paragraph of this article in the deathpenalty.org site. It says, Oklahoma has once again put off the execution of Richard Glossip, the 7th time his pending execution has been stayed or reprieved. On November 2nd, 2022, Governor Kevin Stitt issued a new reprieve staying Glossip's scheduled December 8th, 2022 execution date to allow time for the Oklahoma Court of Criminal Appeals to address pending legal proceedings seeking to overturn Glossip's conviction on grounds of innocence. Stitt's reprieve extended the stay issued as part of a prior August 22nd, 2022, and rescheduled Glossip's execution for February 16th, 2023. And I feel very strongly that I know it sounds horrible to say, but I don't see how they are going to let, at the very least, all I can imagine is that Stitt will commute his sentence like he did with Julius Jones to life without parole. And even that, because just like Julius Jones, Richard Glossip is innocent, and neither one of those men need to be in prison on death row, especially, but even with life without parole. So there's a whole big thing about Richard Glossip. Read that article in deathpenaltyinfo.org, and you'll get all that information. Also, some dirt news from Oklahoma, because that's the best kind. Governor Stitt, who was reelected governor, which was just infuriating, in November. Well, we didn't get this news, and Susan might remember the exact date because she's the one who shared it with me. But I think it was the middle or close to the end, maybe right before Thanksgiving, possibly. Governor Stitt's 20-year-old son was stopped. Well, he wasn't stopped. It's a weird story, but anyway, he was a gun box that was on the back of his truck had been pulled off of the back of his truck. The guns weren't stolen, but when the police showed up, the officer asked, his name is, what was his name? Cameron? No, Susan, do you remember what his name is? Andrew. Drew.
I don't remember. Andrew?
He goes by Drew, yeah. Okay. He said no, that he wasn't drunk or high. And she knew he was. She could smell it on his breath. And by the way, the way he was, what they're trained, how officers are trained. Yeah,
she said he was totally wasted.
Yeah, she said he was completely wasted. And when she walked up to start talking to him, he just kind of like one of these hey, so I know it doesn't matter, but I'm the governor's son. And she says, I don't care who you are. I was like, yes. At any rate, there were everybody in the vehicle they were all under 21, and they were all drinking except for one 18-year-old girl who was apparently their designated driver, or so they said. But they were all allowed to leave the scene. And the firearms weren't even an issue for me so much, but there were no charges filed.
Actually, Rhonda, they called his mommy, and
Yes.
she sent one of their private security guards to escort him back to the town they lived in.
Yeah, back to Stillwater. Yeah, and exactly. Well, because they couldn't let a drunk underage person drive those guns anywhere, right? So it turns out that it was the highway patrol or the state troopers who were part of their security detail. And they're like, yeah, we'll just come and get them. But they put the guns back in this kid's truck, and then this security detail trooper just followed them back to Stillwater. And I'm just like, are you kidding me? Ugh. So last we heard, no charges were filed. But I guess, and I was kind of okay with it because it makes sense. It really does. He didn't apparently have any priors and of any kind. And so they offer people like him diversion, like a diversion program, X amount of hours of community service, and you have to complete a class of whatever sort it was. And so I get that they offer that to them, but they don't have to accept that. They can say, nope, I want to go to trial. I'm pretty sure that Daddy Stitch shut that shit down quick. Like, no, you're going to take the diversion. So
the interesting thing was, it was 1 week. It was Halloween. It was one week before the election, and the news didn't come out until about 3 weeks later.
Yeah,
it wasn't in the news.
The event that interaction took place on Halloween, and Stitt got reelected. What was it? The 2nd of November, 3rd of November. Yeah, and then it didn't hit the news until middle of.
I think the election was like the 8th.
The 8th.
It's called news diversion too. They have a program as well.
Yeah, news diversion.
They got effing diverted.
News diversion. I know. It's a real thing. It's disgusting. So we have Nan's Life. Thank you for coming. I really appreciate you being here. And I think I may not have said, but Behind the Magic is here as well. Hello and welcome. And we're just talking about some interesting news of this year. So we're going to get into the juicy stuff in a minute. I'm just giving some updates on some Oklahoma things that I don't live in Oklahoma. I've never lived in Oklahoma. I have family who lives in Oklahoma, but I am just fascinated with how dirty the state of Oklahoma is. With so many cases. And Wisconsin is bad, but I really only know of Stephen and Brendan's case in Wisconsin. And I'm sure that if I wanted to, Stephen and Brendan, and then of course Gregory Allen, but we don't talk about Gregory Allen, because he didn't do anything wrong. So but I don't really, but Oklahoma, there is always somebody or something dirty going on in the state of Oklahoma, always. Now, they did just release 2 men who were in prison for life for murder, and they exonerated them recently. And it was cases out of Tulsa. But I just thought it doesn't surprise me. Daniel's case is Oklahoma County. Tulsa County is where these 2 men were finally released from prison. And I don't remember who shared it in Discord. It might have been Case 10, if I'm not mistaken, but shared the article in Foul Play. And I read it and I was just like, oh, it's as horrible as it sounds. I wasn't even surprised. I was just like, but in Oklahoma, the max that a wrongfully convicted individual can receive in reparations after they're released is $175,000. That's the max that they can receive. And I mean, imagine if Richard Glossip, for instance, is released. Personally, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think he's going to make it out alive next year, but
That's a fucking joke.
It is ridiculous. It is horrific what they're doing to
Oh
Richard
my
Glossip.
God.
Yeah, and I just...
No, I mean the cap on the money.
Oh, on the money. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's insane. If he did get released next year, can you imagine walking away with just $175,000 for all of the trauma he's been put through? I cannot even imagine. And case 10 it says that it's a slap in the face, and I 100% agree. And our William has popped in. Hello, William. It's so great to have you here.
Yeah, I mean that's I mean it's not exactly the same, but here in the UK, and this is no joke, but here in the UK, if somebody has been found to be wrongfully convicted, they will receive compensation.
Yeah.
But depending on how long, like say Luke gets out next year and it's proven that he is definitely wrongfully convicted, which I know he is, he will get compensation. But you're guaranteed that at least half of that compensation will go back to the Scottish government for room and board.
Yeah. It's just outrageous.
For fuck's sake.
It is, Rhonda. I mean, see, when I found that out, I was like, you've got to be kidding me. You've got to be kidding me. But every case that I've seen, like Joe Steele and TC Campbell and things like that, who were wrongfully convicted, who went for compensation, they went, here, have your compensation, but we are taking such and such off you for the last 15 years that we've put you up, wrongfully convicted.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? It is just diabolical that they can get away with doing that. And the money, the cap on the money in Oklahoma, I mean, that's a slap in the face and a kick in the balls at the same time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because 175, that's nothing compared to what they've been through. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And, it's like I said, if by some miracle Richard Glossip were allowed, was released next year, 175,000 for the entire 30, however many years it's been there. It's disgusting. It's really, really horrific.
It is, but that's probably why innocent people don't get set free in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, look at Daniel. I mean, he's innocent. He's fighting to get out, you know, and they're doing their damnedest to keep him in there. Yeah. How many other people like Daniel that have been in there before Daniel who have been screaming the same thing? Because if Oklahoma knows if they let them out, they're going to have to pay them this money as well. So that's probably why a lot of people in Oklahoma don't get out, whether they're innocent or not. I mean, take Richard Glossop's case, for instance. I mean, they haven't rescheduled. He was supposed to be executed this month, but they have now rescheduled it until February. How is that long enough to test or get the evidence, all the evidence looked at and tested to make sure that he is guilty? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's not, it takes most cases, what, a year, 2 years before they go to court? At least, because they have to do their investigations and everything like that. So I don't understand why they're allowed to make the execution date for another like 2 months forward,
Right.
but still be going through testing. It should be that the execution date is postponed until all retesting has been done, and
Well,
then it's court, and then take it for there. You know, it's ridiculous.
if Governor Stitt hadn't stayed this execution, he would have been executed in August. So while it is frustrating, he did give, well, it's kind of a long story, but a law firm came in. For those of you who aren't familiar, I'll try to nutshell it. Susan knows how good I am at that. A law firm.
It'll be about an hour.
It'll be about an hour. I'll do really quick. But a law firm came in, and the interesting thing
Out
is
of
that
Texas, right?
I think they were out of Texas.
Yeah.
And it's the Republicans in government, in the higher government in Oklahoma, that were saying, wait a minute. Something's not right about this case. And before, you know, even we Republicans, you know, we're all death penalty, whatever, they support the death penalty, but they said that they could not execute an innocent man. Sorry, but you already have, Oklahoma, without completely reviewing everything that was hidden from the defense in the first two trials, and you know, all this. And so this law firm of about like 8 or 10 men and women came in and pro bono investigated this case, Richard's case, from top to bottom. And they found evidence, you know, that was never turned over, which is pure, simply Brady violation stuff. So, pure and simple Brady violation stuff. So anyway, that's like I said, you'll get the real meat and potatoes of it in that article.
And they came back and recommended. They felt he was innocent, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
and
the law firm did.
Yeah. But Stitt kind of poo-pooed it, right?
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. He's like, well, there hasn't been the attorney general who's done in January. He got elected out, thank God, or voted out, whatever the case is. And John O'Connor was his name. And so he got elected out and, or voted out, and thank goodness. But in the meantime, and I don't know, maybe if there is a decent drop of blood in Stitt's body, maybe that's why he gave the stay until February, because he's a, oh God, I don't know, like a yes man. Is that maybe that?
He's a politician.
He's a politician. You're right, Susan. He's a politician.
That's all you gotta say.
Yeah, he's a fucking politician through and through. So anyway,
the only evidence against this guy is another guy who says, who says he did it, but he was saving his ass from the death penalty. He's the actual guy that stole the money and killed the guy, right?
Yeah. Justin Sneed. Oh, that's from Hook. I don't know. Steed, I think, is Justin Sneed or Steed. He actually admitted to killing Van Treese, the hotel owner, but he said that he was forced to do it by Richard Glossip, that Richard forced him to do it. I'm telling you what, nobody is going to make me, at least as I stand here today, as I sit here today, nobody's going to make me kill another human being for no amount of money. None. As far as I sit here today, I can't imagine that I would ever do that.
The story makes zero sense. And the only reason he did it was to avoid the death penalty. They told him that they would take that off the table if he pointed the finger. Yeah. And they had nothing else against him. And he got the death penalty. I mean, how does that happen?
Yeah. Yeah, it was Steve that did the actual murder, but exactly right, Susan. So So it's a horrible case. Get behind Richard Glossip, uh, and pray. If you're a praying person, pray, because it's really scary for him right now.
Can I,
So,
Rhonda? Can I just make just a comment or two?
of course,
Of course, I'm looking at from an Australian point of view. I'm really, really horrified the way the death penalty. First of all, that there is a death penalty, because if you get it wrong, you can't reverse it. You've taken away that person's life. If you've made a mistake, it's not just a matter of oops, but also the fact that people's lives are being. It's like a political football. People's lives are being taken advantage of, all due to politics and gaining some type of advantage against your rivals in a political sense. But also, the other important point is this, that if the gentleman, Richard, is indeed totally innocent, just think about the trauma of being wheeled into the death chamber and being strapped to that table and then saying, okay, the execution isn't going to go on today, you lucky fellow. The trauma, the irreparable damage done to Richard and others as well that this occurs to is just beyond the pale. And America is meant to be this progressive country, land of the free, the brave, etc., etc. But to me, this is truly a barbaric practice. You know what I mean? And if you make a mistake with someone's life, it's irreplaceable, irreparable, and it, from an outsider looking in from Australia, it really is horrendous.
yeah, I completely. Well, I'm not going to speak for
I
everybody, but
I
I know a
absolutely
few
agree
who agree.
also.
Yes, yeah. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, it's
Yeah, I mean, I'm exactly along the same lines as Doc, because we got rid of the death penalty years and years and years and years ago. We got rid of the death penalty, and when I found out that America still did it, I thought that yous were barbaric, medieval in a way, because. And it's contradictory because they put people away for murder, but
right.
yet they and say that, or somebody say, a father's daughter has been SA'd, and he goes out and he takes revenge, and it results in a murder. Then that father is the one that's going to go to jail and go to prison for life, and that's how the courts work it, because he was judge, jury, and executioner at that point in time when he committed the murder. Well, that is like your states in America, what makes them think that they can be judge, jury, and executioner all at once? And I mean, you just have to look back at the ones that have been shown to be innocent and they've already executed them, because that's happened a couple of times, hasn't it? And one was not that long ago, I think last year or the year before, I think. I think it was a coloured person. He was due to be executed. They were trying to fight in court because there was new evidence that he was innocent, but they went ahead and they executed him anyway. And then it came back, I don't know if it was DNA or what, but it actually came back that he was innocent. And they just went, oh, well.
Yeah.
It's murder. It's simply murder in my book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's no different.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. And
Legal murder.
The biggest part of that being that, if they go through with an execution of an innocent person, and then it's found out, like at least one case, well, several cases that I know of in Oklahoma, that they're found to have been innocent and cleared through DNA or whatever, usually DNA. But the man's already executed. What do you do? exactly what Doc was saying. You cannot take that back. It's a done deal. So, yeah, it's horrific. And all we can do for Richard at this point is, and talking about, yes, the emotional, mental, physical trauma, the PTSD that I think that somebody would have to live with, from being strapped down to that gurney is just, unthinkable all on its own. So
I also I believe that it's a harsher punishment to make people live their life out in prison than killing them for the guilty.
yeah. Well, and studies have been done, and one of these days I'm going to actually get the stats on it. But it costs, and I know that Kay, I remember I had mentioned this to Kay once a long time ago, that it costs more to have somebody on death row than it does to house them for life in prison in the United States. It's more expensive on death row to sentence somebody to death. So if they're not thinking of anything else, at least think of the money that it's costing your taxpayers. If you can't think of life.
Rhonda, if I could just make the quick comment.
You bet.
It's also studies have shown that the death penalty is not a deterrent to violent crimes. It is not a deterrent.
Yeah.
And no matter what, it's a terrible thing. I know that crimes occur on a daily basis, violent crimes, and there are true criminals that do commit these crimes. I believe the harshest penalty will be the loss of your freedom.
Yes.
Life in prison without the thought of parole. That's harsh enough. If a life has been taken, taking somebody else's life is not going to solve the issue. It's not going to solve the crime statistics. There are a whole lot of factors that need to be addressed in society. And if I could just quickly say, because unfortunately I've got to go soon. I remember when Stephen and Brendan were put into prison, there was all this kaduff about reintroducing the death penalty. Could you imagine
Yeah.
Stephen and Brendan being put to death, only to discover years down the track that they had absolutely nothing to do with the murder of Teresa Halbach?
Yeah.
And my final comment is, just think of all the poor innocent people that got murdered in historical crimes prior to the introduction of modern DNA techniques. And I could remember there were a few cases back in America, I think it was in the 50s and 60s, in which a lot of African American men were wrongfully executed, only to discover years down the track that someone else had actually owned up to the crime or DNA had exonerated them. Unfortunately for those individuals, there's no coming back. And you're correct. The attitude is, oops, sorry, we made a mistake. That's scary in itself. Thank you.
Talking about, there's good comments, Doc, and, thinking about the death penalty. Most of these people that, and I'll say most, I don't know about all, but certainly I would think that these people that commit violent crimes, that are violent individuals, they expect, it's not a concern for them or less of a concern. They know that there's a real potential they're going to get shot and maybe killed in the pursuit of their, whatever they're, robbing a bank or, robbing a convenience store. They accept it. So the death penalty, they're not sitting around thinking, hey, I might get the death penalty. I better not do that. They don't care. They accept it.
Yeah.
So it's not a deterrent at all.
Well, and like I've always said about that, as far as a deterrent, is that if somebody's going to kill somebody, if they're intent on killing somebody, they're going to do it. It doesn't matter about a death penalty or
That's
life
right.
in prison. They're just going to do it because they have no regard for life in general, is my opinion.
The irony, though, Rhonda and guys on the panel and in chat, is that the death penalty is not universal throughout the United States. only some states carry the death penalty, right?
Right.
So therefore, you've got criminals, violent criminals in other states that have murdered 5, 10, 15 people or more who are sitting in prison for life, right? And so one has to wonder what gives one particular state the right to play God with someone's life, yet a serial killer in another state can live their life until they naturally die in prison, living off the costs of the state. So either it has to be universally applied or removed totally, because it's not going to achieve any aims at all. And you're correct, Rhonda. The expenses to keep someone on death row is phenomenal. It's very, very expensive.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's Utah has the death penalty. It's been more than 5 years, and I think maybe even longer than that since Utah has carried out the death penalty. So, and I looked a little while back, but I can't remember what I found, but they don't even have that many on death row in Utah. I mean, they have, situations. Usually it involves the killing, a horrific, heinous killing of a child before they put somebody on death row. But, they don't, indeed and without doubt, yes. Dr. West.
Yeah, that was from what was that documentary?
Oh crap! It was like 6 of them in that series.
The innocent killer. No, was that it?
Innocent Files. Was it the Innocent Files?
It's
The Innocent Files.
Innocent Files. Yeah.
Well, I
Yeah.
believe it was on Netflix, and we did several podcasts on that. That was
Yes.
incredible.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
That guy, that Dr. Michael West, was a dental odontologist. Isn't that right, Doc?
Right, the bite doctor.
Bite mark analysis. And remember the prosecuting DA as well. They were a team. And
Yes.
their whole idea is that they worked all these cases together. They had like a mortuary, I think, inside a shoe shop or a butcher shop or some really weird place. And these guys were clearing all these cases because they were making a killing in terms of money and income. But you're correct. And I think, I don't recall, made the comment about Dr. West saying, well, if you find them innocent, you can always open the door. And I think that's just such a disgusting, low-life attitude thing to say, that you can put a person in prison for 20, 30, 40 years only to be exonerated, then open the door and let them free. Well, you've destroyed their life.
Right. To him, it's nothing. It just was just such a flippant comment.
That's correct. And, I'm talking about criminal justice, and I think everyone will agree. If you remove immunity to prosecution when people make mistakes, you watch the crime rate go down. You watch the number of errors go down by the prosecuting attorney, judges, and juries. You watch it. If someone is actually you're responsible for the wrong decisions that you make, you watch things get really cleaned up very quickly.
Yeah, I agree.
I've
Or
seen
for
that.
hiding things, holding them back.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I seen that our William had put he was 50-50 on the death penalty for like child killers and things like that. Yeah, I was exactly the same. I thought exactly the same. I don't agree with it, but for certain things, yes. But now that I've seen the amount of innocent people that have been killed, it's like, and how dirty police can actually be, whether it be here in the UK or America or whatever, is, can you actually trust them to have got the right evidence for that person? The people that are getting sent away for 25 years, 30 years, and who are now being released, all got put away with DNA or some sort of evidence, but it's now coming back to the that DNA doesn't even match them. You know what I mean? So if they can get something like that wrong, then they can get something like killing the child, unless there is without a doubt proof that they've actually been caught, they've admitted it or whatever. I still don't think that they should go to the death penalty, because mistakes can be making, you know. Because I used to say that, oh, if it comes to somebody killing a child or abusing a child, put them in a women's prison and tell them exactly what they've done, and I guarantee you they wouldn't be walking out in a box. You know what I mean? So
Well, when
if
I think about a guy like Gene Cachet, and what, he clearly said, hey, DNA can be,
Yeah.
basically moved.
Yeah.
So it's you're creating this evidence for someone else to get convicted, and he was talking directly. They were talking about this Avery case, but he said it. So you have police that are acting in concert to they either think this person's guilty or they want them to be guilty, so they just help the case along.
Yeah. I mean, it's madness. If the person who has done the killing of a child, and they're still standing over the body, or whatever they've done to the child, do you know what I mean? Make them suffer in prison, remembering what they've done for the rest of their life, because the people in that jail who don't like, we call them beasts. That's what we call them over here. People who cut kids or anything like that, we call them beasts. So, and some prisoners don't like beasts, you know what I mean? So they're not going to have a cushy life in prison. They're going to have to watch their back all the time. They're going to have to be on their fucking toes all the time, because they don't know when they're going to get shoved. You know what I mean? So is that merely a punishment than giving them the easy way out by injecting them so that their life's over with as well? You've got to kind of try and balance the scales. I mean, that's why the scales are justice is in scales. You've got to balance it. And as I says, years ago, I would have said, I send them to the fucking death chamber. You know what I mean? I would have said that. But because I've seen the amount of people that have been innocent and who have been executed, I think twice about that now.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I used to support the death penalty. And I don't anymore. And there's some comments that I'm reading in the chat. I think Shaz said something about somebody like Chris Watts, for instance, in Colorado. Well, he's in Wisconsin now, but he killed his wife, their unborn baby, and his two little girls. Oh my God! And he confessed to it. I mean, it's a done deal. He killed his family. So maybe I'm like case 10 in that respect, that I think it was case 10 that said it, that it depends. Was it case 10 or Crockett? I can't remember, but had said they were 50-50, because somebody like Chris Watts he doesn't deserve to draw another breath. And so if he's going to be executed, we know he did it, he confessed, and he waives all of his appeals and all of that stuff, let him go. Just do it and get it over with. But you can't, Richard, anytime there's a legitimate question about the innocence of an individual that has been tried and convicted, there can't be a death sentence. There just can't be. And there's too much, and it's like Jack said, there's too much. If the prosecutors and the judges and the state were being held accountable more, we could possibly see, less wrongful convictions. But I don't think I can't even imagine when that would be.
It comes down to trust. It comes
yeah.
down. It comes straight down to trust and trusting that however many thousand police departments across. At least I'm just talking about America. I mean, I know it's around the world, but being able to trust that your local police. I have to think that by and large we've talked about this many times that they want to do the right thing, but you have elements within these various departments that have other goals. They're not driven specifically by doing their job and presenting the evidence to a prosecutor, that prosecutor being honest and just wanting to, again, seek the truth and get justice, whatever that justice is.
Yeah.
And then a judge being unbiased and not being swayed by any political or other outside things that can sway something from a legal decision. Trust. That's what it all comes down to for me.
Yeah. And it's really, really, really hard to have trust these days in our justice system. So
correct. Rhonda, if I could just make a final comment, because unfortunately I've got to go, and I want to stay here for hours. It's been a fantastic discussion. Thank you, Rhonda, for inviting me.
of
But
course.
the issue I see is, and I think everyone will agree, is that in the past, many district attorneys took it as a badge of honor the more people they could send to the electric chair and get executed. And I remember back in the 50s and 60s in Texas, Henry Wade, who was he was a prosecuting attorney for the assassination of JFK. Unfortunately, Lee Harvey Oswald never got tried because he himself got assassinated. But they asked him during a press conference, and he goes, "How many people have you sent to the electric chair, Henry?" He goes, 50. How many successful electrocutions? 49. And you know what's really incredible? The Innocence Project and others have done research, and they have found that more than 50% of those convictions were all false. In other words, he had sent people to their death who were totally innocent. And like I said, it's really bad when you try and politicize the life and death of a person. You can send a lot of people to their death that are completely innocent. No one should have that power over somebody else's life. Thank you very much, Rhonda.
Thank you so much for being here, Dr. Silkman. And if you are around it a little bit later, we will definitely be talking about the Deputy Heard trial. So, pop in whenever you want to, if you're able to. And thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Yeah, that was a great discussion. And R. Williams says he has a question for those against the death penalty. And the question, I believe, is, would you sentence Kratz to the death penalty? And I'll just answer for myself first. I would not sentence him to death. But I could imagine I would like to see him suffer a lot.
No, I don't think the death penalty is necessarily warranted, but just from what I know of the guy and what I've read, and I've read a lot, he definitely deserves to face the music over his actions and what he's done. And I don't care why he's done it at this point, because he's had opportunity to correct it. And of course, he's not going to, because he's just not. It's not him. He's a narcissist of the worst kind.
I would love nothing more than to see Kratz do some prison time, not only for rape, but also for what he did to Stephen and Brendan.
Absolutely. 100%.
Jack, I'm a little confused by your comment. It says, "At Just Rhonda reminds me of Bloodthirsty Bob Macy." I remind you of Bloodthirsty Bob Macy?
What Doc was talking about.
Yeah, okay. I didn't figure that's what you meant, but you got to use punctuation, brother.
Sorry. Yeah, I should have added that connotation about what Doc was talking about, because Bloodthirsty Bob, if he could put a death penalty on somebody, he would.
He did. He sure did. Yep. Yeah.
That damn guy.
Just
Right.
and just one last comment about Oklahoma and that whole shit show. In Death and Justice, the Oklahoma killing machine, I think is the subtitle. Um, I know that I recorded and released this particular chapter, but it goes through it goes through the father. It goes through the steps of a death sentence. From the time that that they're sent to, they're on death watch because they go to death watch for like 72 hours or whatever. The different states have different timelines, and then they have certain, I would say, like rituals or SOPs, if you'd like, that they follow. And I remember reading that was heart-wrenching to to know what because the only thing you can do when you're reading that, or if you listen to when I read it, is imagine what that must be like, how how traumatic it would be. And like Doc said earlier, not just for the inmate, but for the family and the friends and everybody, in support of the wrongfully convicted, and even even somebody who is legitimately convicted of a crime, being on death row. It would be horrific. And just reading that part of that chapter was really hard to do without some emotion in it. So it's yeah. So now, as hey, Andy B, we had a few people pop in. So Neverly's popped in. Hey, homie, I'm so glad that you're able to listen in. And I'm not sure if I said welcome to Nan's Life, but welcome Nan's Life. And TTM Fangirl is here, and Andy B just popped in. So whoo, I'm feeling pretty good right now. You guys are amazing. I really appreciate you being here. So what I'm going to do now, I just wanted to give an update about Daniel's case, because, I'll just be honest. That's why I have my own YouTube channel is for Daniel. So when I left you all last, I think it was August or September, whenever it was, the civil suit against Daniel had been dropped with prejudice. So there's no civil suit anymore, and there are just so many reasons why that could be, and we can speculate, for days and days and days, but we're never going to, probably anytime soon anyway, know why all the other defendants dropped their case. I do think, though, that when I released the 2 video clips that I have made, I think that was, and those were public. Those were used on the news in Oklahoma, and I think they're in Foul Play's library, and I have them, I believe, in my library, in my Daniel's Truth Discord as well. But I think when those came out from their depositions and the lies that they were caught in, just 2 of them, I think that, and we had so much ready to go as far as getting ready for the civil suit. And so, because the reason it's so significant and so huge that they all dropped their case, because most of them, except for 2 of the women, most of them were all being represented by Benjamin Crump and his law firm, his other guys in his law firm. I can't think of their names right now, but that to me is like, it was all, I don't want to say it was shocking, but to imagine that somebody like, hey, JD, welcome. So glad to see you here. To see that a high profile attorney, civil rights attorney like Benjamin Crump would drop a lawsuit that he was so sure the day that Daniel was convicted was a a sure win, and to have him have his clients drop the case. Obviously, a big reason is money. They had to know that they weren't going to win that civil suit, and they had to know that. And then, so if they're not going to win, how are they going to get paid? So. But right now I think I'm not going to speak for anybody else on the team, but I will speak for myself, and everybody here knows the same thing. But after the civil suit was dropped, and I think you guys in the chat, and certainly all of my foul play family members, know that I go through a couple times a year some hard times. And I have emotional struggles that I just end up going into dark places. And so when I do that, I just kind of disappear. And my family in foul play isn't very fond of that when I do that. And I apologize, but at least one of them will always reach out to me and ask what's going on. Am I okay? Do I need anything? And I let them know. And then everybody's just like, okay, cool. If you need anything, let me know. And then they just kind of let me go through whatever I'm going through. And so that kind of happened. And then I had thank you, William. I really appreciate that. And I am getting better. There are fewer times that I go into the dark place, but this time of year sucks, and whatever. I'm not going to get into all that stuff, but at any rate, so that had happened. And then also, I had a really big, I sent my laptop to the grave. They didn't have my laptop ready for me quite yet at school. And so I was bringing my home laptop from home to use at work. And I had gone to the teacher's lounge, made myself a nice hot cup of coffee with caramel macchiato cream in it. And I was plugging in the laptop, and I was trying to unplug something else, and it was kind of hard to unplug it from the power bar. And I knocked the coffee over, all covered the entire top of my laptop. So it was, it just happens. And so I was already in the dark place, and then that happened, and I was like, fuck it. Stay away for a while. But anyway, things are, and like William said, onward and upward. And I always try to find something when I finally dug back out. I try to always find something to get me excited about it or get me back into things. And so I have a laptop now, and I am yes, it had sugar in it. Well, the coffee didn't have sugar in it, JD, but the cream did. It was caramel macchiato creamer. So yeah, there was no repairing to be done.
So basically, you're trying to tell us that you were trying to ramp up your laptop to go faster.
Yeah,
Got it.
Go.
Check.
I thought it would work. I thought if I just caffeinated it a little bit, it would work.
I'm sorry. I'm kidding. Little dark computer humor there.
Yeah. Well, it's okay. So yeah. I don't know about that, Case 10. Case 10 says it wouldn't have happened if I cracked open a can of Pepsi. We have a little soda wars going on over in foul play. And more of us prefer Coke or ginger ale, as we soon learned, to Pepsi, and Case 10's a little offended by that. So yeah, I did try the hairdryer, JD, and it made it worse. So anyway, it's okay, because I've got it all. It's all fixed. Well, that's not fixed, but it's taken care of, and I'm back online. And listen, I'm not going to pretend like I'm not going to go into a dark place again. But if I'm gone for more than 3 or 4 weeks off of my channel, just assume that I'm in my bed with my head covered, and I'll be back eventually.
We're still going to throw the line down to you, the rope, and pull you back.
I know
You know that, right?
always
Yeah.
do. I do, and
Yeah.
I love it. I love you all for it. I really do. At any rate, my point is that I love Canada Dry. I love that's my. I don't know. It might be. I might prefer the ginger ale, the Canada Dry, over a Coke if I had
Hey,
a choice.
as long as it mixes well with salted caramel whiskey, I'm okay.
Yeah. Alice is. Oh, case 10 has Alice on his side. Woohoo! That's awesome. So anyway, my point is that when all of that happened, it was, shortly after the civil suit was dropped. And I personally just there really wasn't much going on. I mean, we know what's coming next for Daniel, and that is post-conviction relief. And so I knew that was going to be coming eventually, but I was watching for updates and emails and things, and there was nothing going on. And so I just thought, okay, I can rest from that a little bit too. And because it's exhausting, as all of you know on the panel and in chat, researching cases is a bitch. It is so much work, and it is so, it's exhausting. It's exhausting. So, that's kind of we definitely were ready for that break, but we're going to be back at it probably right at the first of the year. After the holidays are over, we'll get right back on it and start getting ready for post conviction. And honestly, I'm kind of excited. So I just want to ask, and however people in the chat want to answer this, if you know about Daniel's case or you don't know very much, or you know some but you want to know more, or what you're not satisfied, whatever the situation is, let me know. You can either put it in the chat or leave it in the comments later, or both. But what is it that you would like to see me covering about Daniel's case? I mean, I've got almost all of the accusers covered, and I mean, I know what I would like to do. TT and Fangirl, yeah, I know. It's like, yeah, we're the same way. We, whether it's Daniel's case or Stephen and Brendan, we live in rabbit holes everywhere. No matter what we're researching, we end up in a rabbit hole that has nothing to do with it. So I understand. But if there's something that you think might be helpful to you to get to understand his case more, because it's so complex and it's so convoluted and it's so, it's basically 13 trials in one, really. That's what's been so difficult, because as we're trying to get ready, we, trying to help with information and looking for inconsistencies, or, things that might be new evidence, things that might be hidden, things like that. We do it. And I think that's partly why it's so exhausting. And Cherie can back me up. It's, it's exhausting trying to think, okay, what I was doing, I was looking for this in this person, and then I read this transcript and I found this other thing that applies to this other thing, and before you know it, we're just like, we're up till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. So anyway, and I'm pretty sure Cherie will back me up on that, because I know we spent lots of nights together that way. So, but she doesn't have to say anything if she doesn't want to. It's okay. So anyway, that's what's going on with Daniel. I just sent him a Christmas card and a Christmas letter, and I'll send him a New Year's Eve card next week and another letter. So again, if you want to send Daniel any mail, any letters or cards, or whatever you want to do or are able to do, you can find his address in my Discord. And I don't recall exactly off the top of my head which room that's in. I think it's in the welcome room, possibly. But anyway, I think it says letters to Daniel actually. So you can find the address there, or as always, you can email a note to me and I can send it on to him, or however you'd like to do it. I'm happy to forward them on for you if you prefer to do it that way too. And there's been several people who have taken advantage of that, and it makes me happy. However it gets done is fine with me. So now we're going to, and I'm not quite sure how I want to do this, because I know that I have to be careful, even though I'm not monetized yet, because I only have 344 subscribers. I should have more by the end of this live today. But I still think that I know when I had music videos up for my son's tribute last year, I got shut down. So I'm sure that if I play too long of a clip, from whether it's from Law and Crime or wherever else, so we'll just
I think you're limited to like I think you're limited to like 3 minutes.
yeah. So we'll,
Yeah. Sorry,
And you
Rhonda,
can-
if you do it as like you're going to be doing it as like a commentary thing, so you play a few minutes of it, then stop it, then have a discussion about it, then play a few more minutes, stop it, have a discussion about it. You should be able to get away with doing it that way, because I've seen
You're
that.
allowed. You're allowed to. Yeah, you're allowed to do it as a rebuttal. That's legally allowed. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's kind of what I had planned.
I couldn't remember the name of it. That's why I says, no, you're allowed to do that.
Educational rebuttal or something. Yeah. So that's kind of what I planned. Thank you, JD. That's really nice. I really appreciate that. And Nathaniel, what am I talking about? Who the hell's Nathaniel? Daniel. Catnit has put Daniel's address in the chat. And so that's there. Or again, you can do it this way. Join my Discord. Case 10 is new to my Discord. Welcome to my Discord, Case 10. Please feel free to ask questions and get involved in there, because I'd like to get that really hopping, because it ain't no foul play in there, I'll tell you that. So, we'll see if we can get some more action in there this year. So anyway, I will be very careful about this. I just put a bunch of actually the clips that I'm using are from just a couple of different days in this trial, but they are some of the best, or some that are enough to give you an idea that's might make you want to go and watch the whole trial, or make you say, oh my God, I'm never watching another trial again. I don't know. And it's not Depp v. Heard. We're not there yet, but I'm sure we'll be there. We'll see who everybody else wants to talk about. And I know for sure that Susan watched this. Yeah, maybe she should.
Darrell Brooks, are you talking about?
Yes. So I don't know if anybody else watched.
Oh my God.
Did you have something you wanted to say, Susan?
Just a total shit show. Oh my God. It was like a car accident. I didn't want to watch it, but I couldn't help myself.
You couldn't look away. I know.
Exactly. Oh, Jesus Christ.
God. It was
such a horrific crime. And he just made that whole courtroom a circus. It was just unreal.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do, in case nobody else has watched any of the trial, or doesn't know anything about it, I just thought I'll share some. It's only about 15 minutes worth of different clips of videos, but I will stop. And Susan, if you want to say something, or anybody on the panel or in chat want to say something about what you just heard or what you just saw, please let me know, because we'll take every opportunity we can to stop and discuss, as to, avoid, any possible unhappy people in the platform. So,
Rhonda, I'd really rather you didn't call me by that name.
What did I call you?
Susan.
What do you want me to call you?
What is it he claimed? He's I'm a sovereign citizen.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm playing it. Don't worry. It's coming. like, what the fuck am I supposed to call you? Sis, I don't know. I'm sorry. Okay. If you don't know anything about this trial, that will make sense to you in a minute. God damn. Okay. Here we go.
3, I believe that these photographs are designed to make a suggestion to the jury that Erica Patterson is a bad mom. I think that is what the defendant is trying to do. And if we're going to go down that road, then we would be forced to counter that claim. First of all, it doesn't make her an incredible witness, if it's even true. And second of all, if we go down that road, we would be forced to counter that claim by pointing out that not only does the defendant not live with the child in question, he doesn't live with any of the other children that he has. He impregnated Erica Patterson when she was a minor in Nevada, and for doing so, he was convicted of statutory sexual seduction, pled guilty in March of 2007 to that felony offense, and is a sex offender on the registry as a result. So if there's any causation that would lead to Erica Patterson being a bad mom, Mr. Brooks has a direct role in that causation.
And that's
Furthermore,
I object to that.
I'm not
because
sure.
that's a lie.
Let
Because
him
at the
finish.
end of the day,
Let
if
him
we
finish,
gonna open the door
Mr.
on that, no,
Brooks.
since he want to make a record and not be accurate, so let's be accurate all on the record. Since you think you know so much,
Once
so
again,
we can
Mr.
open the
Brooks
door
is
on.
being
We can
loud,
open the door on how old she told me she was. When
interrupting.
we can ask that question
He is
too. Then
over the
Did you
top,
ask that?
animated
Do you
right
know
now.
that?
Mr. Brooks, I'm ordering you to sit down and to let the state finish.
No, I'm not going to sit here and let somebody be inaccurate on the record and lie on the record.
Right. Under Illinois versus Allen, I've warned him repeatedly. He's being removed from the courtroom. And you know what? Let me dial that back. We're just going to take an early lunch, 1 hour. We'll be back. And unless he brings that letter and he can show it is inadmissible, she will not be questioned. And under 906.11, I will declare the cross-examination closed. Thank you. We're in recess. 1 hour.
Get your facts straight. So let's open the door on all of it then, so we can get all of it on the record. Since you think you know so much. Did you know she said she was 18 when I met her? Did you know that?
Okay. Sorry. Oh my God. Every time I watch it, it just, my brain hurts. So there, I should also have told you is that there is no rhyme or reason what day the trial this is being shown or you know, what part of the trial. There's no, you know,
really
chronological order of it. Huh?
Doesn't really matter.
It doesn't
It
matter.
was also very much the same every day.
Hey, Rhonda, I'm sorry. I need to jump out of here. We got to reset our modem. Or
Okay.
another issue, but I'll be back. I promise.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Thank you. Yeah, it is. It's just, and it is all the exact same shit every single day, and not just once or twice, but like throughout the entire. Like they were in court. Their court days were so long, so fucking long. It was insane to do. Oh, Rosie doesn't know
It was
this case.
painful.
It was
painful to watch, but I watched it every day, all day. I did.
Yeah, I did too.
I guess I'm a glutton for punishment. I don't know.
I did too. I could not.
It was
stop
difficult.
watching. Yeah, it was really hard, but it was hard not to watch at the same time. And oh God, so yeah, so we'll play some more, but this is kind of how I want to split it up so that it doesn't look, you know, because we definitely need to discuss the psychology of this trial somehow, so I don't get in trouble. But Behind the Magic says, what do you all think about Jennifer Darrow running for the Supreme Court judge in Wisconsin? Personally, I think she would be excellent because she's got more patience than whoever that man in the Bible was. Job. Yeah, this woman deserves sainthood what she put up with in this trial. And
yeah,
so,
I felt like at times she just let him get away with too much.
yeah.
I mean,
Hey, Mel Billy, welcome to the channel. I do too feel very, very sorry I watched the victim impact statements and I watched every second of the trial, and it is heartbreaking. And so, yeah, I don't mean to, I know it may seem like it's making light of that whole situation. And please let me just say that, first and foremost, I am so, so sorry for and, I remember watching
Same.
the stuff on the news about it and thinking, wow, that really sucks. But Jesus, when you listen to the trial, to the testimony, it was, it was, it was, it was rough.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah. So, yeah. And I think so too, behind the magic. And I know the first few days that I watched, I was like, why is she putting up with this? But I know, because if you don't know this, so, yeah, you do live there. Billy says, I live there. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry that I can't imagine what that's like, living so close to yet another horrific case and trial. So please don't. I hope that listen, there's going to be some times when we're going to be laughing at some of his behaviors because he's such an idiot. And I don't mean any disrespect to the victims or their families and friends.
Of course
We
not.
don't at all. So if anybody gets that feeling, I apologize. But we're really just astounded at Darrell Brooks's behavior is the only reason. So let's see. So yeah, I think that because if you don't know about the case, Darrell Brooks, right before the trial was everybody's leaving us. Where's everybody going? Does everybody's modem need to be restarted? He claimed to be a sovereign citizen. I don't know when he made that claim, but just days before the trial was set to begin, he claimed he was a sovereign citizen of the United States, and that he wanted to represent himself. And I have one thing to say about that. If you're a sovereign citizen, and as you see more of these clips, you'll know why I'm saying this. If you're a sovereign citizen, I don't feel like you should be allowed to sit at the defendant's desk or on the witness stand or wherever you are and pound your fist demanding your constitutional rights. I just don't, I think it's bullshit. But that's what he does through the whole trial. So,
And he brings a barricade of boxes as well, does he know, and hides behind it?
Yeah, he did. I don't know if I have any of those clips, but listen, he was taken out of the main trial room every day, multiple times a day, and it was really,
Back
really
and
fun to
forth.
watch. Yeah, we
Back
saw him
and
build the
forth.
fort. Yeah,
I
it
mean,
was ridiculous.
I think he's watched too many lawyer programs on the TV.
Oh,
I mean, I didn't watch it all. I only seen bits and bobs of it, and we articles here and there, news feeds here and there. So I didn't watch it all. And when I found out that he was representing himself, I was like, "Are you serious? You're up for serious crimes, and you're going to represent yourself?"
yeah.
Well, I
then
mean,
found
it was all caught on camera. There
Oh,
was
yeah, it was
no
all on
getting out
camera.
of it. I mean,
Yeah.
there was no defense, period.
No.
For,
Yeah.
for what he did.
Yeah. Oh, of
So-
course. Yeah. Well, and the reason it took the jury, in my opinion, 3.5 hours to come to a verdict was because they had 186 pages they had to go through.
Right.
So that's why it took them that long, as far as
Yeah,
I'm concerned.
absolutely.
So yeah, behind the magic, I would be fine to see her on the Wisconsin Supreme Court. I think she can handle it for sure. Okay, so we'll go ahead and play a little more. Oops, I thought I cut that out. Sorry. Ooh.
I don't care what you believe fully.
All right.
It's not a game. I don't take
I
this as a
asked-
game. That's what
Let me explain
nobody.
this to you
That's what
once
nobody. You
again.
don't got to explain nothing to me.
Do you want?
That's what you don't understand. You
you
think that
want
this
the
is a whole
opportunity
game
to
to me.
question?
This is not a game to me, Your Honor. Nothing about this is a joke.
I never.
That's
said
what
it
y'all
was a
don't
joke.
understand.
But there's
And it's
some
unfair.
gamesmanship
It's
that's going
unfair
on.
and it's disrespectful to me That you think I would come in here purposely and treat this like a joke or a game?
I never said it was a
What
joke.
type of statement is that?
Mr.
Your life is not on the line. Mine is. And you think that I think this is funny?
I don't think it's funny whatsoever.
So,
And I understand.
I think, Your Honor, with all due respect, I think you should show some
we're going to take
respect.
a 5-minute break, and when we come back, the jury's coming out, and you need to call your next witness. Thank you. We are in recess.
No, you're not rushing me to judgment. I don't care what you're talking about.
Well, I'll just let that play while I talk. So, at this point, he's called.
I'm a grown man with grown kids.
The state has rested its case, and so now he's calling witnesses, his witnesses. And I'm telling you, first of all, just you have to realize, since he was representing himself, that means that he also gets to cross-examine all the witnesses, and that was horrible. It was horrible to watch. It was painful to watch, and
That's so horrific.
It really was. I can't imagine. Go ahead.
I'm actually literally feeling nauseous right now seeing him again.
Yeah. It did that to me too when I was watching the trial. Like, I was like sick. But I kept watching it because I was so, I guess in a way I was just fascinated.
It was fascinating. It was unbelievable.
It was
Really,
unbelievable. Oh yeah.
Never seen anything like it. Yeah.
Mm-mm. No, never. There's been never anything like this trial that I've seen anywhere in any trial I've ever watched. So we'll go on with what comes next.
Nobody don't talk to me like that. Nobody. I don't have a problem with doing what you ask me to do, not tell me. Just like when I asked you about subject matter jurisdiction that you have yet to prove on the record. But somehow I'm being intentionally disruptive. Come on, man. Stop. Just stop it.
Jury's coming out.
All right for the jury.
Not going to work.
If you don't
But
make a ruling.
It threw people off a loop. They weren't ready for it. They scared of it. That's what it.
Okay, so also at this time, I probably didn't mention that. I forgot what I didn't mention. Never mind.
May I ask a question?
Please do. Yes.
Okay, I'm. Don't kill me, please. But I'm completely unfamiliar with this case. I don't know if I had my head somewhere up on a vacuum tube, but what am I watching?
This is Darrell Brooks. He was the one who drove the SUV into the parade in Waukesha last year.
Gotcha. I understand. Thank you.
This is his trial.
Something that just came to mind is the Tackett agreement.
Yes. I wanted to. God, I know. It's going to be a laughing point. Everybody just get ready. It's so irritating. Every time he would say it, I would, you damn idiot, it's tacit.
She told him, but he didn't catch on.
Yeah. And the judge even said at one point, no, Mr. Brooks, it is not a tacit agreement. He still kept calling it Tackett. I was like,
Yeah.
You don't know what you're talking about. So, because he's trying to use his defense is that, or he uses in his, oh God, there's clips of it, but he's going to talk about, he must have brought up subject matter jurisdiction 20 times a day minimum. And subject matter jurisdiction is a tactic that sovereign citizens will use. If you're not familiar with what a sovereign citizen believes themselves to be, that's something, you might want to plug into Google or whatever, but you'll see as the clips go on how he uses that. And to be, just so that everyone knows, my opinion is that he does all of this every day, all day, like he did as a distraction, just to distract, and deflection and prolonging. And he knew what was coming. He knew he was going to be found guilty, and so he just anyway
But he honked once.
he honked once. Somebody said he honked. Yeah, it's just
That
insanity.
excuses it all.
Yeah. Well, and brake lights, and he swears how do you know that there wasn't something wrong with the vehicle? And
There was a recall.
yeah, there's the very end. At the very end, during his closing argument, maybe it wasn't his closing argument, the last day, or I think it was when he was offering his defense. He was trying to tell the jury about this recall on that same model and year of his vehicle, that kept it for something about the throttle getting stuck or whatever. But the jury wasn't. But you weren't allowed. And he's telling the jury, but you weren't allowed to hear that. You didn't get to hear that truth. The judge is just like, the judge and the prosecutors are like, shut the fuck up. Because not because they were hiding anything, because what he was saying wasn't true.
Right.
He's trying to testify, and he wasn't even supposed to be testifying to facts not in evidence. And so it just it's rough. It's rough. Here we go with a little more.
Come on, man.
Mr. Brooks.
Come on, man. Stop.
When you aren't
Stop
even
it.
letting
You're a
me
public
ask the
servant, Your Honor.
questions.
I respect your courtroom. I
You
respect
do.
you. You're a public servant, though. Your job is to be.
He says, I respect your courtroom, and I respect you. And it is a rare event that he ever showed any
None.
respect or anything. That's what I was going to say a few minutes ago, when I forgot what I was going to say. Keep in mind that this whole time that he's speaking to the judge in his trial. So this is how he is speaking to the judge in his trial. And it's horrendous. But here's some more.
Is it or is it not? You stated so yourself on record that your job is being the umpire.
Your Honor, can I ask Ms. Patterson please be excused?
Yes, you can be excused.
Okay, so what that's about right there, when Attorney Wichow, who I really, really liked, I liked all of them. While Brooks is arguing with the judge and yelling at her and calling her, being biased and untruthful and all those other ugly things he says, he recalled, I think she was the first or second witness in the trial that the state called, who was his ex-girlfriend, Erica Patterson, who was he was abusive to her, and he had blackened her eye and slugged her in the face or hit her in the face. This was all the day of the parade. And so the state called her already, and he was able to cross-examine her then. Well, then when it was his time to present his defense, he recalled her to the stand, which I just thought all of this was just horrific, what he was doing. And so, she's now facing him twice under oath. And she was really pretty tough, wouldn't you say, Susan?
Yeah, I think she did a great job.
Yeah, she really held her own. He had ran over her foot, and with that same car, and broke her foot. And he was just very abusive. And he's a very misogynistic. He's very narcissistic, histrionic. None of those things are diagnosed by a professional doctor, but I diagnose stuff all on my own all the time. So I'm telling you, those are things.
I concur.
Susan concurs, exactly. Thank you. Okay, so at this point, what had happened was he had recalled her to testify for him, and he just was taking advantage of her, and he tried again to enter some baby pictures of her. They weren't her baby, but a grandchild of theirs, of Brooks's and his ex-girlfriend. It was their grandchild, and he was trying to enter these pictures, and but they had never been seen. They hadn't been shown as evidence, or been used as evidence, or presented to be used as evidence. And here he's trying to, and the reason he was doing that was because he was claiming that Erica Patterson, she's been writing to me since I've been in jail, because they have a standing protection order between them. And so she's not supposed to contact him, or him contact her. Well, he tried to say that she's writing me letters, and how else would I got these pictures of our grandchild if she didn't send them to me? And it was a crazy day, because the judge was telling him, okay, then you get me the letters that she sent to you, and and we'll put them on the record, and we'll see if we we'll make them whatever they were going to do. So at this point, she's still on the witness stand when he's going off on the judge. And so that's when Attorney Witchow said, can we please release Ms. Patterson from the witness stand? And that's what had just happened here.
Apologies.
My apologies too, but it needs to be some truth. Especially when we're talking about stuff that didn't even happen, but they're allowed to get on the stand and say that it happened when they know it didn't happen.
So I'm going to make a record about what he's referring to in count 77.
You even gonna call yourself a judge as much as bias you could put up in here. Don't even tell the jury the truth. Got no integrity whatsoever. None. None.
Thank you, everyone. Please be seated. I would like an update on whether Mr. Brooks filled out a subpoena for Dawn Woods and provided that to the state. Has that been done?
No, we haven't received anything, Your Honor, and obviously she can appear here voluntarily if Mr. Brooks wants to arrange that. I don't believe a subpoena is necessary.
So Dawn Wood is Brooks's mother, and she made me angry in her interviews that we heard from her. And there, Cherie, welcome back, Cherie. And so he had called her as a witness. Now, he was saying, how am I supposed to subpoena witnesses? I'm in jail and I don't have so the state did quite a bit actually to help him, even though they weren't required to. But, they were trying to I don't know if they were just trying to move things along. And so they were helping him where they could, but they sent out all of his subpoenas for him, for all of his witnesses. They did a lot to help him. And so here they're going to talk about the subpoena for his mother, Dawn Woods. And he makes a comment in here that I don't know if it's just because I'm so jaded or if it's because I heard it the way it was intended, but I'll let you guys be the judge about what he says about his mother coming in to testify for him.
Subpoenaed her, and she was under a state subpoena. So I know that at least some point she had notice, but our position would be, Your Honor, that we will not be responsible in any fashion for producing Miss Woods. Mr. Brooks talks to her on a daily basis. If he wants her here, he can produce her on Monday.
Yeah, they ain't got to worry about that.
So I just wanted to know, because I know a subpoena form was filled out.
If I want her to be here, she gonna be here.
I agree with
So
the state that
just know that
she could certainly appear.
It ain't even got to be no arrangement. All I got to say is come. She don't come.
So when he said that, I just thought, the more you get to know about him during his trial, the more you realize that he is, I would venture in my unprofessional diagnoses of him, partly, I would say he is a true misogynist.
I
And
concur.
yeah, you can say more, Susan. You don't have to concur with everything, but yeah, he does not like women at all. And I don't think he likes men either, to be honest. He doesn't authority for sure. He doesn't
He
like
loves
women.
himself.
He loves
only.
himself.
Hey,
And he has-
pardon my French, but he just sounds like an asshole to me. But that's just me.
Oh my God! You
You
can't
haven't
even
even
imagine
seen him
that.
be an asshole yet. This is nothing. Am I right, Susan? Nothing. These are just
Yeah,
mild clips.
Jesus.
Yeah. But the way he says that, there got to be no subpoena. There don't got to be no arranging. If I tell her to come, she gonna come. Like if I snap my fingers, my mama's gonna jump and say how high.
Yep.
So it's just like, whoa, yeah, it was creepy. It really hit me hard when he said that.
That simple.
That simple.
Mr. Brooks, do you intend to call her as a witness? Because I'm directing
Yeah,
you to have her
we
here
said
at
all
9
that. We said
a.m.
all that at the beginning, man. Like, I don't even want to be in here that much longer. Just do what you got to do so I can get up out of here. I'm tired of being in the courtroom that has no integrity whatsoever. How can you even call yourself a
Mr.
judge?
Brooks, I need to make a record of some
I need to make a record too.
You don't
When
need
am
to-
I going to get the chance to do that?
All right. I need to make a record. He's being removed to the other courtroom. He is yelling at me.
I
He's
concur,
not going to
case
let
10.
me make a statement or make the record that I need to make.
I'm finna
He
leave
hasn't
anyway,
sat
so
down
what do it
for
matter? You
the
can
better
hold me
part
in
of 2
contempt all
hours.
you want. You can hold me in contempt all you want.
I'm not
All
holding you
gotta
in
do is tell me
contempt.
if it's criminal or civil, so I can hit
All right.
you with you.
I need to
with
clear
what you
the
know is
courtroom because
coming.
I do need
I'm
to
gonna give
make.
you what you know is coming.
I need him to go to the
If
other
it's civil-
courtroom because I do need to put some
if
things on
it's
the
civil,
record. The record should
Where's the
reflect
contract between you and I?
that Mr. Brooks
If it's
is
criminal,
yelling at me.
what is the crime?
He is.
Who makes the claim? And what
He
is
is. I will make the record when we get back. I will step off, but Mr. Brooks, you're being
It ain't
taken
no,
to the
it
next
ain't no Mr.
courtroom.
Brooks. Don't try to address me
Thank
like
you.
that, like we cool. You don't have no integrity. How can you even call yourself a judge? Maybe
Like
type
we
of
cool,
degrees,
Judge.
being biased, judicial misconduct, trying to steal somebody's system.
What he says there at the end is trying to steal somebody's Sixth Amendment rights. Like I said,
Jesus Christ.
if you are claiming to be a sovereign citizen, you don't get to claim the rights of the Constitution, in my opinion. I don't know what that, I can't say what the law says about that because the law doesn't recognize sovereign citizenry, but anyway.
Well, we just happen to have a nifty lawyer here that might know. Sure.
Yeah, she might. I don't know. What do you know if that's do you know about, a sovereign citizen? If they claim to be a sovereign citizen, do they get to claim the rights of the Constitution? Cherie? The rights of the Constitution?
I've never dealt with one, and actually, this is the first time I've seen one in action. But I would think, that's part.
The rights of the Constitution?
I've never dealt with one, and
Uh-oh, your
actually,
YouTube's on.
this is the first time I've seen one in action. But I would think.
Oh, her YouTube was on.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. I can hear you now. You had your YouTube on, and So you've never seen a sovereign citizen in the wild? Oh, no, I don't guess I can hear you now.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry. I
Okay.
was having issues again. But no, I agree with you. I don't see, that's part of the Constitution is federal, it's for the whole country. It's a federal law, so to speak, so he shouldn't be able to claim the rights when he wants to. And then, say they don't apply to him when he doesn't want them to.
Right.
That's what I think about that.
Yeah. That's what I think about that. Me too. That's what I think too. So it is. I don't know that. Case 10
Can I
says-
just say?
Please do.
Sorry.
No, go.
I just wanted to let you all know that Eddie just brought me a plate of warm ginger cookies out of the oven and a glass of Cabernet Sauvignon to enjoy.
Oh my God. I'll take
Can I
the,
have some, Eddie?
I'll take the wine. Oh, that sounds yummy. She likes to do that to us. She talks about all the great food she's eating and tells us great detail about it. And then, like we can't have any. So thanks a lot, Susan. We appreciate you sharing with us. Okay. So
Hey, you're welcome to it.
I know. She's always willing to share. Every time she's willing to share.
Absolutely.
Okay, so at the end of that little rant, he says, "Steal my Sixth Amendment rights" is what he finished that with.
Yeah, well, he shouldn't be able to have anything to do with the Fifth Amendment or the Sixth Amendment or any of the frigging amendments if he's saying that he's a sovereign, because we have the same here. There is people that say that they're of the sovereign state and that they do not believe in the laws and the rules
Right.
of our system. So it's not just America. I know a lot of people who say they are sovereigns, and that they don't agree with the laws and things like that here in Scotland. So I've came across a few, but he is the prime and ultimate example of a fanny.
Yes, we got a fanny out of her. Thank you.
I'd say,
Alice, I got my T-shirt with your face on it.
Oh, that's nice.
It's incredible. It is awesome.
I haven't got.
It's awesome. I love it.
Behind the Magic says, honestly, I found this case to be very informative, as the judge explained to Darrell Brooks many parts of the law in layman's terms. She did. She gave him a lot. And it's been said many times, and I thought this too during the trial, and I think it's been said by her or in an interview since the trial, since the verdict and the sentencing, that she gave him so much leeway because she wanted to make sure that she was basically, doing a CYA for when it came to the Court of Appeals. And I felt like that, but at the same time, I was like, Jesus, how many times do you have to make sure that you're covering your ass for a criminal appeal?
I'm like, do not let him come back in that courtroom. God damn it.
And okay, so that, I don't know if I explained it. When he would get really, really unruly and really disrespectful and not let the judge or anybody else for that matter speak, she would, I can't remember the case law she cites, but somebody v. Allen. Oh, Arkansas v. Allen, maybe?
Oh.
I don't remember. It was a case though that she cited, and she wouldn't like gag him like I wanted her to. But she would move him to the courtroom next door, which was empty, and he was completely set up in there. He had a monitor, he had headphones, he had, and I don't know if I put any clips in here of that, but we did that many times a day. Take the jury out. Okay, now take Mr. Brooks to the other courtroom and put him on mute or unmute him, whatever she was going to do, so she could make a record. And then he would come, and if you can promise, oh my God, how many times during the trial, if you can make a pledge that you're going to come in and show respect and decorum and behave and not interrupt, blah, 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 multiple times a day. And every day he would come back in, and sometimes he'd behave for a few minutes, but then he'd go off the fucking rails again. You're like, take the jury out again. The jury, that poor jury, they probably convicted his ass just because they had to get up and down so much.
They got a workout every
Yes, they
day.
did. How many? Oh, minimum 10 times a day. That poor jury was up and down, being taken out, being brought in, being
And it was
taken out,
such
being
a
brought in.
delay. Oh,
Yeah, delay. That's the word I was trying to think of earlier. Liam, how the heck are you? I haven't seen you forever. Liam is from the Depp v. Heard case. I met Liam when I was watching the Depp v. Heard trial on Ranty's channel. So it's great to see you.
awesome.
Yeah. So Liam says there was also the responsibility to future cases in which judges would have to deal with Soviet shite in criminal courts. Yeah, exactly. They probably a lot of precedents set in this trial, I would imagine. Yeah, it's great to
I
see
bet
you.
I can
Liam.
guess where Liam's from.
Where are you from, Liam? I think oh, that's funny. Okay, so right when that cut off, that's what he was saying, though. He was saying that he, that, she basically was tramping all over his constitutional rights. So we'll move on from there.
There's an issue that we do need to take up potential as to a witness by the name of Abel Lescano. He has prior criminal history.
Thank you.
So as long as the jury's out, we should probably discuss that. I would like to provide the defendant and the court.
Hold on to your horses. This is going to get
So
wild.
that had to be said. So it's the defendant.
That's not how it was said.
Attorney Basie's looking at him like, what the fuck's happening right now? What's going on? Because he was complaining that that she said the defendant when she walked over to hand him the document. So,
Oh my God.
it had to be
It's
said
like
like that. The defendant.
He's like a 6-year-old.
He really is. He's so bad. Oh gosh. Okay, here we go. He said, did it so case 10 says, what the fuck did he say? He said, so Hopper brings over the document to him. And so when she leaves, walks away from her mic, she has to speak louder. I think she's going to say that. And so when she got over to his table to hand him his document, his copy of the document, she said, the defendant, really loud. And then she went to say, and to Your Honor, and so he got all butthurt about the way she said the defendant. Sorry. Here we go.
You want to run the record back?
Mr. Brooks.
So I'm the only one. I got one
Brooks.
ear that work, and I heard that.
This is to benefit you so that you understand
Ain't none of
your
this to benefit me,
witness
so let's
has
be clear
a
about
prior
that.
record.
Your Honor, when I leave the table, I'm away from the courtroom and I have to elevate my voice. This is the alleged record of Abel Lescano.
Stop talking.
Come on, man. Like, I don't know who y'all be thinking y'all fooling. I accept the value in return for value this document.
One more interruption and you're going to be removed to the next courtroom.
That's what you want to do anyway.
It's not what I want to do. Do not interrupt Attorney Opper.
So can
Your
you
Honor,
tell,
I
can
believe
you
he has 7 prior criminal convictions via OW.
Now, that slam that you just heard was legitimate slam. He pounded his fist on the desk at that point, which leads to a little bit of a frightening scene here in a second.
1997, an OWI 3rd from 1997, an OWI 4th from 2003, criminal trespass to dwelling from 2006.
All right, I need to take a break. This man right now is having a stare down with me. It's very disrespectful. He pounded his fist. Frankly, it makes me scared.
That, I remember I was watching that live and I was like, oh my God, he is going to jump over that table and try to jump over that table and get at the judge. I thought I happened to know he was, chained or shackled to the table thing there's a hook on the floor underneath the table and he's got a shackle that keeps him, there. But
To me, he looks like a first grader, pissed, mad, staring at his teacher. You know?
Yeah, he did. Illinois versus Allen. That's what it is. Thank you, Behind the Magic. I knew it wasn't Arkansas. And so that's what she cites every time she sends him back to the other courtroom. She could literally gag him if she wanted to. It is in the Illinois versus Allen case law. But hey, William, I'm glad you're back. But I remember saying out loud, I was watching the trial by myself, and I just said out loud, "Oh my God, that is some serious mean mugging." He was he was nuts in that spot, and it scared I agree, Liam. I think he would have tried to jump over the table. But I felt the same way. I was a little frightened, even though the judge knew he couldn't get at her. This is like the last days of the trial. And she's just spent, how long did that trial last, Susan? Was it like, I don't know, 18 days or something? I can't remember. But,
it was just way too long, whatever.
It was
for the families, for the victims, survivors, for the whole town. He terrorized that entire town. I don't care if they were at that parade or not. Everybody was affected by this.
I mean, it's not even just that. If that is the way he's speaking to a judge, can you imagine how he spoke to his own mother?
Yeah.
You know, because you can tell people like that. Yeah, you can tell people like that. I mean, there is no way that my son would have an attitude like that or speak to anybody with disrespect like that, you know, and he certainly wouldn't speak to me like that. So if he wouldn't speak to me like that, he wouldn't speak to a judge like that. And I'm sorry, but to me, that's in his upbringing.
Yeah. Not to hear his mother tell it, and not to hear him tell it even. And in one point in the trial, I don't remember what part and what he was talking about, but he said, I wasn't raised that way. I think it was in his closing statement
Really?
testimony. Yeah.
Plus, he's clutching the Bible. He's clutching a Bible through this whole thing.
Yes.
Yeah. And reads it at times.
Yeah. Reads it when he's trying to ignore the judge.
Oh my God, man. He's like a petulant fucking child who's been sent to the fucking naughty step because he's done something wrong. You know what I mean? The way he's acting, it is like a petulant child.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that's definitely how he acts. Okay, not sure how much more, but here we go.
Court will call State of Wisconsin versus Darrell E. Brooks, case number 21 CF 1848. May I have the appearances, please?
Yes, good morning, Judge Sue After, Leslie Basie, and Zach Witchow appearing for the State of Wisconsin.
Good morning, sir. Please state your name for the record.
I'm here as a third-party intervener in that matter, appearing as authorized representative for my client. I accept for value in return for value all of the charging instruments in this matter and make my exemption available for discharge of all obligations and charges connected with this case. I do not dispute any of the facts in these charging instruments, and I do not consent to or agree to being called that name, Your Honor.
So that was I could have got a better clip, but I just didn't get a chance to. So in the beginning, when Susan told me, please don't call me that, I was like, what the fuck do you mean? Don't call you Susan? I was like, wait, what? Every day.
I do not consent to being called that.
I do not consent to being called that. Every day when they would do appearances in the morning, he would say that I'm a third party intervener, and he's speaking in, it's so weird because he's speaking when he does that like he is an attorney for this other person who is Darrell Brooks. I'm a third party intervener. And this is all sovereign citizen talk that he's doing. and I do not consent to being called. Now, when there were some witnesses that would get up on the stand and he would be cross-examining them, they would say he might say, "Well, who was driving the vehicle that you saw? You? I'm sorry, you who? You who? What do you mean? You who's you?" And they would say, "You, Darrell Brooks, you were driving," and that would piss him off.
That's your name, Darrell Brooks.
Yep, that's your name. It's what's on your when they took the driver's license out of your pants pocket, that's the name. And they actually showed, if I'm not mistaken, it was an exhibit, if I'm not mistaken, a copy of his driver's license that says his name, Darrell Brooks, whatever Jr., and all capital letters. And they even use the argument, I don't use all capital letters, or my client doesn't use all oh God, he was insane. Sorry for my language. Don't mean to keep bringing God into it, but we talked about that part, Liam, before you came in. We talked about that part.
Record to reflect that the individual known to this court as Darrell Brooks is appearing in person in custody. He is also in civilian or street clothing, in a suit and tie, also wearing a mask. And without a citation, it's hard for me to know. So that's why I'm asking you if you have any other information about that case.
I can possibly look on a break, but my understanding of that particular case was dealing with the specifics of subject matter and personal jurisdiction, which is why it was brought up for the record, which is something that I have been doing adamantly, is asking for the court to provide verified proof of jurisdiction, which I have not been provided with as of yet.
Court's not required to do that, sir. I understand what your objection is. It's been noted for the record multiple times. And the previous rulings of the court stand. I see no reason to revisit those issues, or what we call legally a motion for reconsideration, even if I were to take your reference to these cases as a request to reconsider based on a new legal argument. The cases that I reviewed don't support that. I do want to give the state an opportunity to at least make a record as to their position, and then I'll give you the last word if you want to make a legal argument to the contrary.
I do.
I did not find any verbiage from any of these three cases that would raise any type of argument in this case that this court does not have jurisdiction to hear this case.
Thank you. Mr. Brooks, your response.
Yeah, I respectfully object to that. It's clear in both of those cases that ultimately those cases were called correct by the Supreme Court, in that both cases ended up being voided because there was no jurisdiction. Same thing in this case. How it applies is this court has yet to prove that it has jurisdiction. It has not been proven. There's been no certified document paperwork.
Just in the interest of trying not to get myself in trouble, I'm going to pause right there. So every single day, countless times a day, he brings up to the judge subject matter jurisdiction. And before I realized that he had claimed himself a sovereign citizen and all that crap and whatever it meant and blah, 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 I was like, what does he keep talking about? Subject? And so I ended up looking it up, and Cherie, do you know anything about subject matter jurisdiction? I might have asked you about it at the time. I don't remember.
It's like the court doesn't have jurisdiction over that issue, like a state court would have jurisdiction over a federal crime.
Okay.
stuff like that. A civil court doesn't have jurisdiction over an actual criminal matter, stuff,
Okay.
that sort of thing.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, for him, he's saying that. Well, according to what I read, go ahead.
Go ahead, Sheree.
No.
Oh,
you.
I was telling her to go ahead.
Oh. No, finish.
Oh, I was just gonna say that what I read, what I posted in there was that apparently those citizens don't think they're under federal law, is what I understood, or maybe it's United States law, including state law, because a crime is a state matter usually. So if it's only against federal, then
right.
I'm confused.
You're right. No, that's right. It was, and he was using it again in the sovereign citizen sense, but he was every single day he wanted the judge to prove to him that she had subject matter jurisdiction to be trying him in that court. And it wasn't a thing. And so she just refused every day, or she would just ignore it, and if she ignored it, it really got him going. But
he also claimed something about maritime law.
Oh yeah.
And the thing
well,
that
did
was
it
on
happen in the
flagpole,
ocean?
Military.
Right.
Is this military? Is this a military? I think it might be in this clip. I'm not really sure, but.
And are you actually a judge? You have to prove that to me, that
you have to prove it to me.
Really a judge.
Oh wow, she deserves a medal for
Oh my God.
Yeah, it certainly was. And so Liam says subject matter jurisdiction is automatic for the court, but he does not want to recognize any government oversight of his actions. Yeah, that's how, because he's sovereign.
So it's not just federal law he's against, it's state law too. Okay.
It's any law that he can bring in there. Let's see what Liam's got another one here. I believe it also connected to his egotistical inability to recognize that a woman would be senior to him in any matter. Absolutely. Yeah, we discussed that before you popped into Liam, that he seems to be truly misogynistic and has problems with authority, and a female of an authority. Ooh, yeah, those weren't good days for him. Well, you know what? Behind the magic, he could have been getting legal advice from other inmates, but I believe that he was using most of his library time and study time that he got, I think, to research sovereign citizenry, whatever. Because
I'm guessing an inmate gave him that idea.
Yes. Yeah.
To start. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because it wasn't until just shortly before the trial started and he decided to represent himself and all that stuff that I knew of that coming into play, the sovereign citizenry thing.
And then he also kept on and on and on about who's the plaintiff? Where's the plaintiff?
Yes.
In this case? There is no plaintiff.
Yeah.
The state of Wisconsin is not a person.
You can't sue. An entity cannot bring a claim. God. And he would ask witnesses in cross-examination.
Every one of them.
Yeah, every one of them.
Every one of them.
Yep. And the defense would object, and I put a link to this particular, this is it's like a 50-minute tirade or something, I think is it's titled, but I put a link to this particular interview in the description. So if you want to watch this whole thing in whole, you can. But that whole thing.
It's not an interview, right?
No, it's not an interview. I'm sorry. This part of the trial. Thank you. They during this
judge gave him a lot of leeway.
A lot of leeway. She really did. A lot of patience. So it's at this point that he's trying to present case law that addresses subject matter jurisdiction, but he doesn't know the case law citation. So he just says the name of a case that he believes is subject matter jurisdiction, addresses it, and also the state researched case law to look for subject matter jurisdiction, and nothing that they could find address subject matter jurisdiction in the way that he was always referring to it. That's kind of what that whole part was about when they were talking about the case law and stuff. And I cut that out because you can hear it you can listen to it in the link I provided.
There's been no proof. There's been no response to the demand for the statement of particulars. There's been no response to, we haven't even established that the plaintiff is a living human being and not an entity. There's so many things that have yet to even be proven. And again, if both cases that were just cited were voided by the Supreme Court for lack of jurisdiction, how is this case any different?
Not yet. Now it is. You gotta. I gotta get faster now. Yep. Sometimes I just forget. No.
Still has yet to be proven for the record. Is that a judicial determination that you don't have to answer that, Your Honor?
Mr. Brooks, I've already answered subject matter jurisdiction. You know that full well.
No, I
Written
don't.
Decision was entered last week.
I know nothing. It has yet to be proved. That's what I know.
Doesn't need to be proved.
It does. It has to be proven by the prosecution. You know that.
No, I actually know to the contrary. So we're not going to address it.
So show me a lawful law that it says that.
Mr. Brooks, I provided you with the law.
Lawful law was another one of his buzzwords.
You know what? I'll have my clerk print off another copy of that order. So
You don't have to do that. Have
no,
her
I'm going
print.
to because you apparently didn't read
No,
it. So
have her
you
print
can read
off
it this
proof.
time.
Have her print off proof that you have subject matter jurisdiction. How about that? It has to be proven
Mr.
for the
Brooks,
record. It has
you
yet
are
to be
simply
proven.
wrong as a matter of
No,
law.
I'm not. If I'm wrong, then show me that I'm wrong.
I've given you the constitutional and
No,
the
you haven't.
statutory authority.
No,
and
you
the
have
case law.
not. You have not proven it on the record.
It doesn't need to be proven, sir.
It does need to be proven.
I believe the jury's coming in. They're coming.
I believe it. You gotta prove it. You gotta prove subject matter jurisdiction. Set for value in return for value of that document is not proof of subject matter jurisdiction. For the record.
Sovereign citizen speak.
Is that a lawful law?
Is that a lawful law? That might be the end of the thing. So anyway, those are just some, I think that's the end of it, the clips that I made. Yeah, definitely. IS for sure. Can I call you that? Okay. All right. So that's Darrell Brooks. That's the style of Darrell Brooks. Oh, that's just clips of it. I only showed you very mild parts of it. There are so many more that are so much worse. And an entire day, even if you just watch one day.
Countless hours.
Yeah, countless hours. So many hours of my life that I will never get back. But I couldn't not watch. Okay, so that's enough of that. And gosh, we've been
I'm
going
just
for
glad he's in prison for life.
How
How many years did he get, Rhonda?
Oh God, over 700.
Yeah.
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 So let's see. We're going to move on, but let me just throw this last thing in here. Well, not the last thing, but this other comment by Liam, who's been a wealth of information. Thank you so much, Liam.
Yes, he
As
is.
has Behind the Magic and several others. Thank you for your help. Liam says the accept for value and return for value is usually used by solvents when the documents have a monetary value, such as a bill or a ticket or a fine. So
Proves
yeah,
he doesn't know what he's talking about.
he doesn't know what he's talking about. So just pick a day. I don't know, somewhere. Just pick any day of that trial on law and crime and just watch one of them. It'll blow your mind. And then just in your mind realize that just about all of them went about the same or worse after that. So
Neverly, I agree. Can you imagine being locked up in a cell with that guy? Jesus.
Yeah, God help him. Now, just to wrap up Darrell Brooks, he is also, I believe, going to Milwaukee. I think he's got some trials that he's got to go through in Milwaukee as well. So
DUIs and such. Yeah.
So he's got a lot of crimes that he has to answer for now.
They shouldn't waste the court's money, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I mean, he's in prison forever. So
I don't know, except for that victims of those crimes might want their own day. I don't know. I really don't know. But yeah, he's not ever getting out of prison again. And I don't know where his cases stand at this point. And I don't really care
less.
Yeah, I don't really care. So anyway, I've taken up most of this time, and I really wanted others to share something that a case that they found fascinating throughout the year. Jack?
Depp and Heard.
Depp and Heard. Bring it on, big brother. Bring it on.
Well, I'm just gonna, I'm not gonna beat that one to death too much because we've talked about it. I mean, we haven't talked a lot about it. I don't think online, in podcast form. But we were exposed to some really interesting aspects of civil law, federal civil law. Millions of people really watch that. But what? Beyond the fascination of that is the trying to understand a person like Amber Heard and her being caught in so many lies, literally caught. This is not just supposition or we're just making stuff up because we don't like her. It's literally she was caught lying numerous times. She had the gall to number one, after her lawyer sent that extortion letter. If anyone's out there that hasn't seen it, all you got to do is just type it into Google and you'll pull it up. Basically, before this all really blew up, her lawyers wrote this letter demanding that she get out of both penthouses, wasn't it? That a really expensive Range Rover car. What was it? $60,000 a month, or it was a ridiculous amount of money for her not to move forward and do all this crap that she did. It was an extortion letter. And of course,
blackmail. Extortion.
Yeah, basically. Absolutely. And of course, Johnny wisely said no. So, everything blew up. But someone like her, we have these people in society that have followers. For her as an actress, I don't think she's that great of an actress personally. I know other people do. All that she really had going for her was that she was very pretty, very attractive. She could make herself up to look very nice. And if you've only got that, but you're really a mean fucking person, pardon my French, and she is mean. She's definitely mean. She's conniving. She's a schemer. And to me, she saw an opportunity with Johnny. I really think Johnny loved her. I think he still does love her. I think he always will have some strong feeling for her, given everything that he did. I know that Johnny's not a perfect guy, and I accept it. He threw everything out on the table that was about his life, including the lint in his pocket, and we all saw it for what it is. He's a guy that got addicted to drugs, alcohol, and but at the same time, he wasn't violent with anyone. And it just it exposed such an honest brutally honest, I guess, painfully honest, I guess, aspects of his life that I didn't really want to know, but I'm glad that he did it. That came across to me very well. She gets in the witness box, and she put on a performance, and it was terrible. It was awful. I cringed.
Such bad acting.
And then it was, and then the countersuit, she got back on there, and it was worse. Oh my God! Anyway, so I guess now moving forward to more current times, and I really haven't had time to dive into it as much, but I guess this they settled her part of the countersuit. I guess her insurance only covers up to $1 million, which I guess did get paid out. And then she releases this statement, which was again full of just crap. She talks about the UK trial. Well, the UK trial wasn't about her. She was a third-party witness in that.
Yeah. But she was successful in it. She prevailed.
Yeah.
Well, what's really bad that it doesn't ever get said that cross-examination wasn't allowed. So whatever she said was just accepted, and no one got to challenge that. It's such bullshit and such a misrepresentation of everything. And she lied. Not only that, she lied in that UK trial about the donation. The pledge or donate. We learned definitions about that right away. Well, I pledged it. So, okay. Well, if I pledged, that I'm going to, just bought a house, if I pledged to the bank that I'm going to pay them, is that okay? I don't think so. They're going to throw me out,
I love that Johnny pledged to donate that $1 million he's getting from her.
Did he really? That's fantastic.
Yes.
Anyway, I don't want to blather on about it. I'll let other people talk about this aspect and her as a person and the lengths that she will go to. She just keeps doubling down, and I don't know if it's. Well, I actually think it's her personality and makeup, because she's not a nice person. But I just have to wonder who is it in her lap that's, because there's people around her. What are they saying to her? Are they exasperating and gaslighting the hell out of this and continuing the same bullshit that's been going on that failed? It absolutely failed. It doesn't work, and she continues to do it anyway. Anyway, I'm going to shut up now.
It's sad to me that a bunch of groups surrounded, involved with domestic abuse victims and so on, SA victims, are behind her.
Yeah.
I think that's
I agree, Susan.
political. I think it's totally political.
It is.
And it's awful.
It's detrimental to it's detrimental to real victims of domestic violence, men and women. It hurts everything.
Yeah, it is. It's sad.
Yeah.
Oh my God, looky there. Oh, there's Lady Neverly.
And we have Neverly. Hi, Neverly.
Hey, Nev.
You don't have any opinions about any of this, do you?
Let's be done with work. Debbie Heard comes on. Here's Neverly.
I hope she didn't leave anyone on the table again.
Oh no.
I'm kidding. I tease with her all the time.
She's not muted, but I can't
still be at work. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Probably. Yeah. So we go ahead. Anybody else? Anybody but me.
Well, just the whole turd thing. I was going backwards and forwards on Twitter. Somebody had put a comment up on Twitter, and it was a picture of turd from years ago, and they were like, Johnny, JD, do you realise what you've let go? You've let the best thing go that ever happened to you, and everything like that. And I try not to. I try my best not to, but I had to. And I left a comment saying, you are fucking hilarious, whoever you are, because JD is so glad to be rid of that turd that he's jumping for joy, and that she's going to be the only one that's going to be shooting her mouth off about the whole fucking situation and about how she was bad dunty, you know. And guess what they done? They deleted their tweets so that I couldn't see it, so I must be blocked. And then other people jumped on the bandwagon, and one of them had the audacity to come on and say, she's never been done for domestic violence. And I'm like, are you fucking did you watch the trial? She assaulted her ex-wife. She assaulted JD, so she's the abuser, so sit down and shut up. You know what I mean? But they are still so delusional about that woman. It is unbelievable. And Johnny, I mean, yeah, the settlement was, she thinks that she's won. Everybody, our stans thinks that she's won because the case has been settled. But no, the judgment
Wow.
still stands. She's still an abuser, no matter what. In a court of law, she's an abuser, and she has to pay £1 million. But Johnny's not in it for the money, so he pledged to donate, which was fantastic.
And Johnny does not have to pay her that $2 million that she got
No.
awarded. So she
No.
lost.
Yep.
She's paying Johnny $1 million, and so she won there because it was 15.
Yeah.
But he didn't have to pay her, so she
Yep.
totally lost again.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, there she is.
Hi. How's everybody doing?
We're doing okay.
Good.
Well, I was able to log in and come to the live due to the help of my son, who is in Europe and who had to punch in the number to Google something, whatever. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a big production. But here I am.
Oh, well, I'm so glad you were able to come.
Yes. Plus, I heard the magic words Johnny Depp and Amber fucking Heard. Yeah.
That's what we figured.
Yes. So I gotta tell you that, as you know, and most of you on the panel were also missing in action for those like 6 weeks while the trial was going on. It was great to see you on every other streaming channel. I'm like, oh, here are my muffins. All of them. Yeah. So that was really awesome. And I'm sure that majority of people that watched got triggered, and that they were not watching for pure entertainment, but also it was an interest in what could happen when a crazy enters your life, and a crazy with money and power and celebrity behind it, right?
Yeah.
But I think that she barked finally and bit the hand that fed her, and this is the result of that. Now, I don't know how about you guys, but once I heard that there was a settlement for the appeals, not for the case, but for the appeals and for the judgment, who's going to pay how much and to whom, I was kind of disappointed. I felt that, again, she got away scot-free. She didn't have to pay a penny out of her pocket, and that she did not learn that financial lesson that she had to learn. Like, we all have to learn some lessons in lives, and the situations repeat. They come back into your life until you learn that lesson and you act differently. React, act, make better choice. However,
but Neverly, her cases aren't over yet, because now she's in a case with her insurance companies, I do believe.
Yes, and that was sweet music to my ears. Because how could you, it would be really, again, we wouldn't get the justice for the wrongdoer. And she's definitely a wrongdoer because she did all of this with malice. People, do you remember what she was claiming on the stand? The SA with the bottle, the punching in the face, the broken nose, the blah, 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 blah. None of that was proven. None of that was proven at all. It was the nerve, the balls that she had. She had to go, balls deep, head first into the deep end. So it was like sink or swim time for her. So I see why she did it. It's appalling. I'm sure that everybody feels the same, that it was appalling of what kind of lies, allegations she was spewing. She was spewing, and how she wanted to ruin one person's life. And it was the wrong person. And I believe that she's not done. I believe that she will piss somebody off to the point that somebody's going to smack her for real this time. Not imaginary smack, but for real. Because this is unbelievable what she does and what she will continue to do.
I got to be honest with you, with everyone. I'm actually surprised somebody had beat shit out of her.
Me too.
Like really beat the piss out of her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's because she chooses meek people.
Yeah.
To
That's
dominate.
true. Yes.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
And that her
Or people
statement
that
she
would not go there. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, like big people, you know what I mean? That they're gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna rise above this situation and deal with it another way. She preys on those people. She's a total predator. And that statement that she provided immediately, what a sack of trash.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait a second,
Garbage.
let's do some statement analysis over here. And as I was doing it in my head, next day, Andy Signor, is that his name? From Popcorn Planet, he did
Yeah.
her
Yeah.
statements and actual facts. And I posted that in our Discord, actually. Oh my gosh, every sentence that she wrote was incorrect. And again,
Yeah.
full of lies, deception,
Yep.
delusions. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I watched the Cursey Word girl. What's her
Oh,
name?
okay.
Emily
Emily
Baker.
D. Baker. Yeah.
Yeah, she went over it too. It was interesting.
Yeah.
It was all
Yeah.
bullshit.
It was all bullshit. Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. So
Yeah,
yeah.
Adam Waldman. Adam Waldman. He's back on Twitter again. So he put a thing on Twitter saying that she said 56 times me, myself, and I, basically, in that statement that she put out. But not only that, her troubles aren't over. Because I think it was Popcorn Planet that actually did something on it earlier today. I think Adam Waldman is suing her now.
Oh,
Nice.
good.
Yeah, because this is like, you can only run and hide so much. It will catch up with you eventually. Whether we're going to see this or not in our lifetime, I don't know. But she
More
will
than
pay the
likely.
price. Yeah,
More than
I
likely.
think so. Because what she's doing, she is just out of control. And all of this, me, myself, and I, 56, 57 times, they actually counted how many times Meghan Markle said, I, be me, and so forth in one of her speeches. And it was something like that. Yeah.
By the
So
way,
there,
Neverly,
yes.
that's an adorable photo of you.
Oh, thank you.
Very cute.
Thank you very much.
It is
So, yeah.
You
So
know,
we shall see.
Meghan Markle and Prince Harry, is that who it is? That is something that I just don't understand. I just out of curiosity, because
Have you watched it?
I did watch the Netflix series. Is that what you're talking about? Other than that,
Yes.
I don't know what the
Haven't
hatred
finished
is
it.
about her.
Well, it's according to them and her, it's about race.
Racism.
Well,
Racism.
To do with it.
it's a mixture of everything. She is the first mixed race to ever go into the family. She's married.
That they know of.
Yeah, she's married. Princess Diana's youngest son. So she stole the prince from the UK.
She's an American.
she's an American. She's a divorcee. People say that she was a nothing before she met Harry, which isn't true. She was an actress and ambassador for different charities. She spoke at human rights conventions and everything like that. Oh,
Something like Amber.
Yeah, the British, no, the British media and that are worse. They are worse with Meghan than I have ever seen them. Now, I've seen them be vile. I've seen them be vile in Luke's case. I've seen them be vile with Diana. I've seen them be no so vile, but they printed all the tampon gate and everything like that between Charles and Camilla while he was married to Diana.
Tampon gate. I haven't heard that one.
Have you never heard that one? Oh,
no.
Oh,
it's Charles and Camilla were having private, supposed to be a private conversation, and he was basically saying that he wanted to be inside her like a tampon and things like that. So it was like a kind of raunchy thing call that was happening, and this is while he was married to Diana. You know, they've been out in the garden having sex in the bushes, everything like this, and this all came out in the 90s. About these phone calls and everything like that. So it's all that's been dubbed the name Tampon Gate, and everything like that. So
that's hysterical.
Yeah, I mean, the royalists.
What a bloody show.
Yeah. Nice one, Susan. Nice one.
I think it's time I got my hat and found the door. I don't know.
So yeah, I mean, a lot of the royalists and that think the sun shines out the royals' arses, but they forget things that happened, like Tampon Gate and Diana and everything like that. And now they've turned their attention to Meghan, and they're saying that they're lying about everything, about conversations. 8 days after Harry, it became public that Harry was seeing Meghan, the headlines in the UK was like Harry's girl straight out of Compton. The royal bloodline is going to be tainted. The royal bloodline is now going to be tainted because of Meghan's mixed heritage race. You know what I mean?
They're just being vile. That's what the press does.
Yeah.
So it's like if you survive that, you will learn the press's respect type of thing.
Well, no, in my opinion, Meghan and Harry have been made a scapegoat to defer themselves from the other royals like Prince Andrew and Charles and William's affairs and things like that, and they've just been thrown to the wolves, basically. What annoys me the most about the whole thing is that what Harry is saying, Harry has been brought up in this life for 30 years. You know, before he met Meghan, he was in this life from birth. And from birth, he was called the Spear. You know, so he knew his place. And his eyes were getting opened to other things. And people don't like that. They don't like it. And what annoys me is when Harry's saying that he has had conversations with members of the royal family about certain things, that people are saying that he's lying. And it's like, how the fuck do you know? Because you weren't there. You know what I mean? Harry was there. Harry was the one that was lived it. There is they said that a conversation was made on what colour would their child be when Meghan was pregnant.
Well, I don't know, Alice. I see what you're saying and I see what they're saying, and I'm not in their shoes. But everybody talks about the looks, the color of the eye, hair, skin of their babies, even between the same race couples. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah, no, but it's that to me that's different.
It's completely racist.
Yeah, it's completely racist. Yeah, completely. But no, they're not racist, Susan. They're not racist. You know, they're open arms because they work with charities who have helped people of color and everything like that. So how can they be racist? You know, the vitriol. I mean, Jeremy Clarkson, a well-known presenter here, has just had it tight in the media because in the Sun, the fucking shit rag that I hate the most, he's a columnist in that paper, and he wrote a bit in that paper about how he can't sleep at night because he's tossing and turning, dreaming of Meghan being flogged and thrown excrement at through every street in Britain.
This the same guy that's on Top Gear?
Yes.
Has anyone watched? I'm going to change the subject just for a second. He did a series on Amazon called Clarkson's Farm. And if you haven't watched it, it is hilarious. You got to watch it. It is so funny. Anyway.
Yeah, it can be, but he's also a misogynist git. You know what I mean? So there's been a big MPs and everything like that have wrote to the editor of the paper and everything like that. I mean, the vitriol that Meghan is getting is unbelievable.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of the misogynist stuff from him, but I'll check it out.
Well, it's not even that. It's people online as well, Jack. They're saying that she wasn't pregnant with Harry's kids. The kids are not Harry's. They had a surrogate, and all this kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Prince Kate, William and Kate ate avocados when she had morning sickness, and that was, oh, poor Kate, she's having to eat avocado because she can't. She's got morning sickness every morning. They found out that Meghan was eating avocados in the morning, and that's it. She's you know, it's today with slave trading and everything like that. You know what I mean? So they twist it so that it's bad for Meghan, even though Kate does the exact same thing. You know, holding their bellies when they were pregnant. It was cute and sweet for Kate. But when Meghan was doing it, oh, why can she not just fucking leave it alone? Why does she have to do that all the time? You know? So the woman's had it for 6 years. And some of it, I think, is just so unfair that it's unbelievable.
Do you think that if she stayed and toughed it out, because there's a bigger picture, this is not about the press and how mean they are. And we all know that they're mean. And if you are not strong enough mentally, you can really crack under the pressure. But if she stayed longer and applied herself to the royal duty, whatever that means, whatever they're supposed to be doing, that she would have made it. Because she had a perfect, to me, the way I see it, she had a unique opportunity to make changes and to improve at least the social aspect of being that she's biracial, being that she's an outsider, not from a royal family herself or from a noble family, that she's from a regular family from the United States. You know what I mean? She had an opportunity to make great changes and to open up eyes, doors, you know, kind of evolve.
Yeah,
I just feel like she ran away from it kind of quickly.
No, when you're getting vilified left, right, and centre by every media outlet, when the people that you trust are leaking information to the media about you and everything like that, then who are you meant to turn to, Everly? You know what I mean? She got criticised for the way she crossed her legs. She got criticised for the nail polish that she wore. She got criticised because she was wearing dull colours. She got criticised for everything. They hauled her over the coals for everything. And because you've got his brother, who is the next in line, then they have to keep them squeaky clean, you know?
I see what you're saying. Yeah. Well,
So,
then, yeah, there comes a point that you want to leave. And as you said, Harry is the second in line. Actually, now not, he's like the, what, fifth, sixth in line? after all William's kids.
Yep.
So maybe it's a good thing that they left, but maybe they should have left with grace and not with,
Yeah,
know.
but I mean that's it.
Well,
Whenever you
I think they tried to. I mean, if you watch the documentary, I mean, listening to Harry, he tried to, to say, look, because there were some threats that got pushed to them. There were some threats on their, and for Harry, he really felt threatened because of what happened to his mother with the press.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's got PTSD over it, but I imagine he might. And so, his first thing is like, damn, I got to figure out a way to try to protect my family somehow, I guess. But yeah, he tried to have a meeting with the Queen, and by that time things had progressed to a pretty far stage. And as long as Meghan was in the country, they wouldn't agree to it. And as soon as she flew back to Canada, then suddenly this meeting's available. And he tried to say, look, we want to stop all this nonsense. We'll work from afar and do whatever you want. Tell us what to do, we'll do it. But if we remove ourselves from, that area, from
the epicenter, of
correct,
the press,
correct, that's right. And they said no.
Huh. Yeah. Well, hopefully they will find their peace and place under the sun and live their best life.
Well, the big next explosion is going to be Harry's memoirs. Harry's memoir is due in January, and everybody's speculating about what's going to be in it, about how he's going to be dissing the Queen and everything like that. And what annoys me is if you go on Google, go on Audible, whatever book place that you put, and you type in Prince Harry or any of the royals, and you will see that there is at least 20 books, if not more, written by royal reporters, by royal aides, by historians, by every fucking body else about Harry and about his life. But now that Harry is going to do it for himself in his own words and his truth, then it's not allowed. He shouldn't be doing it. It's like, so wait a minute. So everybody else can write Harry's fucking truth and or so-called truth, but Harry's not allowed to write his truth. The person who's lived it for all these years and everything like that. There is a lot of hypocrites here in the fucking UK, especially when it comes to the media and royal reporters and everything like that. I mean, not just for royal reporters. I mean, everything that's been printed about any of the royals, they say it comes from a royal source, a royal aide, or a spokesperson. Since the documentary came out and Harry and Meghan, because to me, majority of that documentary was about the media and how they've been reacting and everything like that. You know what I mean? So they were showing how that is, and they all came out and went, oh, it's no royal reporters and it's no royal aides and everything like that. So they kind of backtracked, It's like, well, name your sources if that's the case. But it's not allowed. So
yeah. Well, I do feel bad for Harry. In my unprofessional opinion, I think that he has not healed from the loss of his mother. And what a traumatic event that was at such a young age, at such a, his family and our family are totally different. They're the royals, we're the commoners, right? So it was all in the public eye, and it was just awful in the circumstances and whatnot. And I just hope that he works on it and that he heals himself from that trauma so he could truly enjoy his life and not become super paranoid or triggered by every event. You know how it is? So he can truly enjoy his young family.
yeah, but he's not allowed to, Neverly. He's not allowed to because he's a prince. His
Well,
life should be in the public eye for everyone to see, no matter what it is. But that's like any of that's what they say. If you're in the royal family, we pay their wages. So we, the public, feel that we have a right to every part of their life. No, we don't. You know, whatever you have to do in public, do your galas, do your events, do your whatever. But it doesn't stop there. You know, William and that still have to bow to Charles, even behind closed doors. You know, and that's what Meghan couldn't understand. She thought it was, you know, what happened in the public eye was in the public eye. But what happened behind closed doors wasn't what happened in the public eye. But she soon had her eyes open to that, no, they still have to bow to the head of state, no matter where they are, you know what I mean? Because they're the head of state, which to me,
I would have
think
been
is
pretty surprised by that.
yeah.
I wouldn't have
Especially
thought.
when you're not from that. I mean,
Behind closed doors.
Yeah. I mean, to me, that sounds sillier as well, Susan, and I bloody live here. You know what I mean? You
Right?
would think that behind closed doors, they would be a normal family. There would be hugs, kisses, laughs, jokes.
Right?
You know, that's that sort of thing, like a family does.
Relax.
Because, yeah, but no, it's still quite sort of formal in a sense, which I think is madness in this day and age.
It's sad.
Especially when there's no cameras or anything like that.
They don't even know. I think maybe they don't even know how to be Paxton normal, you know?
Yeah.
That's sad.
And the worst thing about it is Charles done an interview way back in the 90s with David Dimbleby. And he said that the Queen wasn't very loving, said that his father wasn't there a lot, didn't give him all the attention and the love and the hugs and everything like that. But that was okay. But Harry's not allowed to say anything like that about his family, you know? It's just, it's back to front and upside down. It's just it's stupid.
Another thing that I found interesting that was revealed, and I kind of knew it to some degree, just in talking with Alice and other people from the UK, but these rag magazines, papers, whatever you want to call them, they are huge business in that region, huge business, and it's so cutthroat. It's so cutthroat. I mean, you take something like the National Enquirer and the Star magazine. I mean, that's kind of the rag magazines here, but it is they have their niche and people do buy them. There's crazy shit in there, but it's nothing like what it is over there. Nothing. And they sell. I mean, that's their goal is whatever they have to do to sell a paper, right? And they are really, really vicious. I mean, I'm just thinking just briefly back to what they did to Johnny Depp. They cloned his phone or something. They hacked his phone or something and got all this stuff.
Yep, that's right. They're actually the son and that are actually in legal proceedings with Elton John, Prince Harry, and a few others for phone hacking and everything like that. So that's all still to come next year for Harry. But they will do anything and everything to get a story, whether it's true or not. And Dan Wooten of The Sun, who wrote the article about Johnny Depp, Jax, about him being the wife beater, which he took the court for. Years ago, there was a TV presenter here, and her name was Caroline Flack, and she was in some trouble. I think she'd been caught drunk driving or something like that. And because she was well known, it was in the papers, and they hounded her and they dug through her life and they went back to her past and everything like that. And Dan Wooten went on constantly about Caroline, and Caroline ended up taking her own life because of the media that was going about at the time, but not just that, but because of other things that was happening in her life, she felt that she couldn't get pulled back out because of how the media were portraying her, because they were saying that she was violent and everything like that, you know. So she didn't see any way back. And because she was gone up to court and things like that, they just continued to hound her. So, in my opinion, when that happened, the media drove her to suicide. But they haven't
Yeah, the
learned.
media can definitely ruin your life. Look at, that example. There's 3 million examples. I don't have to name specific ones.
Yeah.
I totally understand that. And this is the flip side of the coin of being the royal. And some people can stomach it and some people cannot. My point is, and I didn't watch the whole documentary because I don't want to actually give him any views, but I did watch it through different channels. You know what I mean? They would like play it for a while and whatnot. So my only
Which
thing
one,
is
Beverly? About
Meghan and Harry, the Netflix show. They were just like,
you don't want to give who the views?
Meghan. I cannot stand her. That's my blunt opinion.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Huh.
I think he's traumatized young man, and I'm sure that it fucking sucks to be called spare all your life, and to be treated as. But that's the price that you pay when you're born into the royal family. None of them had a choice to be born in that family. Nobody asked them, right? It pretty much is what it is. And how
Well,
do you sink or do you swim? That's another story.
That's another thing with the another thing I didn't really understand was that how to explain this best. If you're a royal and the taxpayers, the people are paying basically for your life, they are given access to your life. You basically become part of the mechanism, part of the monarchy, and so your life should be a more open book for people to be able to follow, because basically the people are paying for everything that you have. And that was something else I really didn't know, but that they talk about that too.
That's weird to me.
It is really weird.
Because we're not from there. I guess you can go on a website and you can see how much money they're spending, making, donating, and everything else.
That's right.
But if you're born into that family, that's one thing. But if you join into that family, like marry into it, that's a whole different animal. And I understand that it's stressful, that it's different, that it's what. And if you don't have the roots in it, as I said, like Meghan in this instance, then yeah, of course it's going to be horribly hard. But there's plenty of people that have married into the family and succeeded. So maybe this is just wasn't for them.
Look at the ones that haven't in Everly. You had Diana, you had Fergie, you had Wallace, who the king who was supposed to be the king abdicated, and that's why our Queen's father became king, because he abdicated because they weren't going to accept his wife. So the only one that's done
those are the choices that you make.
But when you've not got the help, because the royal family, they do mental health charities and that now, but she asked for help and they said no, because if the papers found it, that would look bad on the royal family. If there is no help coming from them, and I'm telling you now, if the royal family had came out at the beginning when it all started and said, lay off of Meghan, it is not right, she is part of our family, things would be completely different now. I guarantee it. There would be more people on her bandwagon than there is off the wagon. It really is straight in that plane. But because there was issues with William, about having an affair and everything like that, they leaked Meghan's letter for her father. To her father. They leaked it. The Palaces leaked it, you know.
To take
Where is that looking out?
Views off of
Yeah.
William.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Where
I
is
thought that was terrible. They shouldn't have done that.
Nope. Nope. Exactly, Jack. Exactly. But how did they get that letter? It's got to have been leaked because it was only sent to the palace. You know what I mean? So, and it's the same way when Harry sent the letter to his family about renouncing his titles and everything like that. That was a private letter between him and Charles and that, but that ended up in the papers as well. How did that end up in the papers? It's been given to one of the aides for it to be printed, which is wrong. You shouldn't do that. You should not do that. No matter what royal you are. There's been more commotion about Meghan and Harry than there is about Prince Andrew, who the Queen had to pay £12 million of our money to shut down a sexual allegations case that was against them because of the Epstein carry on and everything like that. So
I didn't know about that.
Yeah. The FBI and everything like that wanted to speak to Prince Andrew, and he wouldn't speak to them and everything like that.
I know
and
the Andrew thing. I thought you said William, something about an affair with William.
Yeah, William. There's rumors going about that William was supposedly having an affair with a Mariness or something like that, and that was a few years ago.
I didn't heard about that. I hadn't heard about that one either.
No, because it gets buried, Jack. That's what I mean, because he's the next in line. He's going to be the future king. Kate's going to be the future queen.
Yeah.
You know, so shit like that coming out isn't good for the next future king or queen. So they like to make them out to be squeaky clean when they're not. Sorry,
well,
Roger.
you know, I think that
what a piece of work he is. Jesus.
Oh boy,
the Epstein thing. Oh my God.
I mean, I think that I like the monarch. Well, I like it. I followed the monarchy. It fascinates me because it's been around for so long. My family's roots are in England, that region. I'm talking about a couple of centuries ago, but nonetheless. But it, with Meghan, I do tend to agree with. I don't hate her, but I question because she is a decent actress. So, if you watch the documentary, you have to ask yourself how much is real, which I think part of it is, and how much is acting, which I think part of it is, to draw the drama in. I do think that the monarchy should have stepped in, like Alice said, and said, look, you need to fucking stop. Because there is a relationship, and that's another thing I didn't really know. There is a relationship. These three different regions, the Sussex, whatever they call them there, they all have their own press office, and they all communicate, and they communicate to the press. This is a daily thing. This is what they do. It's their job.
Yes, and the editors of these papers and around like that write these bullshit stories get invited to galas and parties and everything like that with the king and queen.
That's right. That's right. So, they could have come out and said, look, she's marrying into the family. You people need to stop what you're doing because now because it's created, they reacted, Harry and Meghan reacted however. But we have to admit, no matter what, a lot of that was driven because of what the media did to them. Right, wrong, or indifferent.
Yeah.
I've always had this. I mean, I really liked her in Suits, Meghan Markle. I really like that show. For anybody that has or hasn't watched it, I really like that show. One of my favorites. You've never watched it?
No.
It is really good. It really is. It's crazy about this group of high-powered lawyers and the antics and shit that they go through. It's crazy. But they're connected, and a lot of it, they're connected to British and UK and different lawyers. But I really liked her in that. But she is a decent actress, so, I just think they handled it bad. That's just me.
I agree with what you said, Jack, and I agree with Alice. Globally speaking, generally speaking. However, when it comes to this particular couple, Harry and Meghan, I cannot, something is not letting me believe what she says 100%. To me, she's not likable. To me, she's manipulative. And even I'll give her 50% of whatever she's saying. But the other half, I'm sorry, this is just my opinion. I don't
All
care
right.
for her at all.
Well,
The way
I,
she's
I, I
handling and all of it. You see,
have you been manipulated by the press, Neverly?
no, I understand what you're saying. But
maybe
there,
driven a
maybe
little.
you never know. Yeah.
Sure, I understand.
Yeah. You see what I'm saying? It comes down to like the way she's portraying herself. And I watch her not just through this, hairy thing. I kind of followed her, what she does for the charities and whatnot. And to me, I don't know. I don't care for her, but that's just me. And who
You
am
know,
I?
you,
You know what I mean?
it,
Just
it
a
well,
personal
it,
opinion.
I mean, you said something a minute ago about if she had stayed, could she have made things right, or could have things have been different if she just said, "Look, I'm here. I accept. I'm marrying into the family. I'm going to do the best I can in whatever assignments that we're given to do for the Queen and the monarchy," and just kept her head down and just kept on moving forward. I don't know. Maybe that would have been a different route. I don't know if I could have done it, given all the media attention and all the other stuff that the racial stuff and all that. I don't know. It's really tough. It really is.
I'll tell you, I haven't seen all of it yet. I've watched maybe 4 episodes. I don't know how many there are.
There's
But
six.
I watched
There's
it
six
from a
episodes.
very naive place because I don't follow it. I know who they are, of course, and I know that they moved to Canada or whatever, but I really don't know anything about them. And to me, they seemed very genuine to me. I don't know. Maybe I'm naive. I just thought that she'd been horribly vilified, and um, I don't know.
I can't disagree. I can't disagree with you, but that's the reason I said from the documentary standpoint, it does come across that way. That's why I said she's a good actress, and I have to ask myself because I don't know how much of it is she adding content where and mannerisms where she really just should just tell the story. So I don't know.
Well,
I'm torn.
Well, put it this way, I don't know if any of you have seen the episode. I can't remember if it's episode 4 or if it's episode 5. But there's a certain bit in it where she is taking the piss out of herself because of when she first met Harry and she was first going to meet the Queen. Harry said to her, "Do you know how to curtsy?" And she's like,
Oh, yeah.
"What?"
Yeah,
He's
I
like,
remember that.
"Do you know how to curtsy?" And she's like, "No." And she said that the only thing that she really knew about curtsying that Americans know about curtsying is medieval bars or things like that. You know what I mean?
Disney,
And
yeah.
Disney, yeah. So she was taking the piss out of herself about her dramatic curtsy that she done in front of the Queen. Well, our media and all the other shows are that, oh, she disrespected the Queen. No, she didn't disrespect the Queen. She never said that she disrespected the Queen. She was taking the piss out of herself because she done a huge dramatic curtsy. You know what I mean? And
I thought
now
that
you're
was
all saying,
hilarious.
yeah, so did I. So did I.
See,
But
to
now you're all
me,
saying,
that was
oh,
all
she's
fake.
lying about it. She knows how to curtsy and everything like that. And look at Harry's face. And all, it's like, oh, for fuck's sake, man, just give it a rest.
Neverly, I wouldn't know how to curtsy in front of the Queen. Sorry,
I
I wouldn't.
understand. I understand all of that. And as I said, how to cross your legs, what nail polish to wear, what colors and blah blah. She went into detail. All I'm
Yeah,
saying is that if you believe Megan, I could see how people would be sympathetic to her. But if you don't, I also see how you would find her the opposite of that. and I fall into the group. And again, that's just a personal opinion. It's neither here nor there. That's all. It's just a difference of an opinion. There you go. It's not really very dramatic. And just because I think that, or Alice feels that way, or Susan, whoever, you know what I mean? You
Yeah.
feel the way you feel. We're just talking.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So shall we move on, Rhonda?
Hey, you know what? I asked, and I
You
appreciate.
have received.
I
Hey,
have received. Yes, I
Hey,
have.
there's one more thing I want to bring up before we get out of here about something that's happened recently. And if I could ever get Doc to talk about it, I know he doesn't really want to, but recently there were thousands more JFK documents that were declassified and released. Thousands. There's still a few thousand that they probably will never release, but that's pretty
The
big.
ones that
And
we need to see.
yeah,
Be released.
no, probably not. Probably never, because they would be, I think, too revealing to certain people.
It's too disturbing to know the truth, I think.
Well,
Too disturbing for the public.
well, I still would like to know, and I think I would really like for people to be held accountable that made decisions that affected our country, literally.
Oh, the whole world has changed after this. Not
Sure,
just this country.
absolutely, sure, absolutely.
The innocence that was gone, the public perception of the government, and the hush-hush stories and conspiracy theories and everything that came out about after that moment, should I say, in history, it just has profound effect all around the world, not just for the United States. I told my son, I'm like, hey, buddy, if you ever find out for sure, if they say this, or if it comes to life, who did it, you need to whisper. I'm like, just point your head towards heaven and whisper, and I will hear it even if I'm dead, because I want to know.
Yeah, for anyone that hasn't watched JFK, the Oliver Stone movie back in from '92 or '3, whenever it was made, it's a fantastic movie. I know it's dramatized to a large degree, but it's still got a lot of factual events in it. Talking about this prosecutor, he was really the only one that stood up. And it was risky. It was really risky for him, I think. But he became such a spotlight. I think they became probably afraid to do anything to him. But he had a family, kids, and all that. But the courtroom scenes and some of the other scenes that Kevin Costner did such a wonderful job laying it out, especially about the magic bullet. Anyway, I just thought I'd bring it up because this happened just here in the last couple of weeks. These documents getting released, and I've kind of whispered at Doc, but for Doc, before he ever became involved in foul play and all that, he was really, really deep into the JFK conspiracy, and with a different group, and it became really sketchy for him, and he had to get out. He felt like he did, and so I think he's a little reserved about getting re-involved, but I'd love to do an open mic at some point and have him talk about it and explain. Certainly, you have to understand that even the JFK film is it explains a lot. It brought a lot out that I didn't know, and my dad was a big follower before he passed. He read about as much as he could about JFK, because he's like a lot of Americans. He really loved JFK and thought he could make a huge impact on our country, and he did. Before he was, even after he was killed. But he was at that age in his life. When I was like 2 when JFK was assassinated, and so my dad was he would have been 33. Yeah, he would have been 33, 34, something like that. So, he was kind of at the prime of his life, and it really affected him. And he talked to me about it a lot. And anyway, I just thought that I'd make a mention of it for anyone that's a follower. about these documents being released. I haven't read them yet. I don't think Doc has either, but anyway.
Well, Jack, do you know whether those new papers revealed whether JFK preferred Pepsi or Coke? Liam wants to know.
It's like Liam was in Discord or something this last couple of days.
Uh-huh.
I don't think they reveal that. I don't think they reveal that.
That case fascinates me. It really, really fascinates me. And it has done for years. I mean, the first sort I watched JFK with Kevin Costner. I seen that. But I'd also seen a documentary, and it was all about the magic bullet and everything like that. And I'm sitting and I'm watching it, and I'm like, what are they talking about? That came for the grassy knoll, or it came for the bridge. Just the way his heat went. That wasn't a magic bullet that came from. I said, what was Magneto there or something like that? You know what I mean? Because that's what it is in the X-Men movies, is that Magneto fucking killed JFK. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh my God, man. So yeah, that case has always fascinated me. And I've seen a few comments on Twitter and things like that. And they're all like, oh, so the CIA wanted him killed JFK. And I'm like, no, really? Is this going to be another conspiracy theory thing that's going to put now? So, yeah, I would love to see the documents that came out.
I heard that the documents were mostly about Lee Harvey Oswald and Jack Ruby, and that they were naturally heavily redacted. That's all I know. So
yeah, that doesn't shock me. That doesn't surprise me.
Silky's back. He says JFK preferred blondes.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, he sure did.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, I did. Happy birthday, Mr. President. I'm not showing you all my cleavage. Sorry. I don't want your eyes to get confused about where they should be looking.
Hey, I'm getting my hat and my coat, and I'm going to find the door here just in a minute.
We've also had a wee bit of
sorry, Case. I forget not everybody here knows me as well. Oh, Jesus. Oh, God. I know I'm so sweet and innocent, and I'm so quiet and reserved. To hear something like that come from my mouth must be shocking, right, Case?
That's you, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't say.
Yeah, right.
Doc and I never cussed before we came to foul play.
I did.
Yeah, that's Zoe's fault.
I'm kidding.
Yeah. Listen, I had 5 sons. I had to either walk out on them and ignore them for the rest of their lives, or just join them. And so it was just easier to just join them.
Oh,
Yep.
Rhonda, I have another case to mention.
Bring it on,
And
sister. Bring it on.
I wish I knew the guy, the name, but it was the guy that defended himself. He held his wife hostage. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yes. Why can't I not remember his name now? Because you said that.
And he cross-examined his wife on the stand.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, what was that
shit.
case? Oh man. I know exactly what you're talking about. Because at the same time they had the Sandy Hook dude going on, and There was a lot of
Yeah.
cases going on at that time.
Well, there's another
rest
interesting case coming up after you finish that.
Oh yeah, Murdoch.
Murdoch, yeah.
Oh
That's
yeah,
gonna
that's
be
in
a shit show.
January.
Yeah.
Yeah, supposedly in January. It might be next December. Who knows? With
Who
our
knows?
court
Yeah.
system. Yeah. But yeah, that case was talk about a fucking narcissist. Oh my God.
I can't think of his name right now.
Do you guys know does everybody else know what I'm talking
No,
about?
I don't.
I'll look for it real quick, Susan.
Okay. Yeah, he defended himself, and he had
Trevor Summers?
held his.
Is it Trevor Summers, Susan? Catnet saying Trevor Summers?
Is that
Oh. Is that it? I don't know. Trevor doesn't sound right, but it could be.
Trevor Steven Summers?
Summers.
I think it's Trevor. I think it's Trevor Summers.
Okay.
Yeah,
He had, held his wife hostage. I mean, he had, I forget everything he did to her. He was.
Yeah.
Pretty sure he planned on killing her and didn't.
You think he chickened out?
Didn't accomplish it.
Yeah.
But he did hold her captive for quite some time.
Yeah.
And abused her and raped her and all kinds of shit.
Yeah.
And she survived it. And yeah, he actually cross-examined her on the stand. It was just, and she did a great job. She held her own. That's a really interesting trial to watch. If you haven't seen it, I recommend it.
I didn't see the trial. I did see clips of it here and there. So
I didn't watch all of it, but I saw probably about half. I came in about halfway and watched something like that. But it was interesting, and he did get convicted.
Well, was he claiming?
But you've got to be a You've got to be a narcissist to defend yourself. I mean, to not use lawyers.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, because and when I first heard about Darrell Brooks, representing himself, I thought that it was that he just was so narcissistic that he didn't think anybody could represent him as good as he could represent himself. And then, of course, I found out about all the sovereign citizen bullshit. But yeah.
Yeah, Liam's got it right. He says another git that used the court process to get his rocks off on revisiting his crime again and again.
Yeah.
That's exactly what the guy was doing. Yeah.
And traumatizing his ex-wife in the process and getting off on that too, again, in just in a different fashion. So yeah.
What's the name of that serial killer? Oh my God, who did the same thing? He defended himself, and he was just enjoying, in all his glory, of retelling the story about the crimes. What's his name?
Ted Bundy.
Ted Frankie Bundy. He did the same thing.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yep. Yeah, those are truly have to be the most narcissist. Yeah.
Mental.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just.
So did you all hear about the case in Toronto where the 6 little teenagers just killed a homeless man?
I did. I posted that in the news chat on Discord.
There were
I can't.
3 13-year-olds, 3 14-year-olds, and 2 16-year-old girls.
Yep.
That killed a homeless man.
Yep.
What the fuck is this world coming to?
It's terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying. Because people are just not only just, random street crimes, but people are now just killing people or beating on people or like this case up in Idaho. Christ, that is driving me out of my mind.
Yeah.
I've just never heard anything. I heard somebody say today that if it takes 2 years, this Idaho case will never go cold. And I thought, 2 years? Are you fucking kidding me? I cannot wait 2 years for some more information for a suspect and a true victim. What? And it's just mind-boggling. But yeah, when you're talking about kids, doing such brutal things like that, there's just no consequences in their minds, or their the consequences they're not able to fully understand the longevity of their own lives.
13 and 14. I mean, come on.
Yeah, they just
and they don't know the difference between right and wrong.
I think they know the difference.
Yeah, they
well,
do.
maybe they don't. Maybe, who knows? Jesus.
Maybe they never taught. Maybe they were never taught boundaries. Like most of us were. Things you just don't do. You just don't. No matter what, you don't cross that line. I did want to talk about that Idaho case too. Somebody brought up, because that case.
It's driving me crazy.
Well, it's a disaster. I mean, it literally is. I mean, it's almost to me like, and I've said it before, that it's almost like someone's being protected. I'm not saying that's true. I'm just saying that from what we were told, this is a very messy, a very bloody crime scene, and they don't have any evidence. And I don't know. Maybe they don't, but it just sounds like from all the mistakes and missteps that they've had, it's a small department. I get that. They don't, they never had to experience something like that. I get that too, but there were a lot of things, the front. I'll give you an example. Apparently, the front door was left open by whoever, and the police chief didn't even know that. And this came out recently in a news story. It was like last week, I think. He wasn't even aware of that. How can that be? I don't know. I know that's not the only. I know it's not the only case he has on his plate, but this is a pretty major thing.
I also saw where that ex-FBI guy that covered the Summerwell case, I forget his name, Summerwells, he was in the neighborhood around Thanksgiving, and he went by the crime scene with his wife. They drove by, and he got out, and he spotted a glove in the snow next to the trash can. That was the crime scene tape was up, and
they hadn't collected that glove.
They hadn't collected it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's just so. There's, especially those, and I'm probably, somebody's going to get pissed off about me saying this, but small towns who get these big crimes, just like Boulder when JonBenet Ramsey was murdered.
Oh God.
The small towns.
My fingers are crossed for familial DNA solving that case very soon.
Yeah, well, that it'll be solved. I just, who knows when, but they don't, the police departments don't want to, no, this is just a perception, my perception. No, we can handle it. We don't need anybody else outside help. We're good. We got this. Well, you've never had any cases like this.
But
yeah,
we
got it.
They have the FBI though helping them.
Well, but they told them that, they sent them away.
In Moscow?
Yeah, the FBI isn't helping them anymore, are they? Or local FBI?
Oh, they were in Moscow.
So.
They
were.
I know in the beginning for sure.
I don't know about now. Maybe Safran knows a little bit more since he's not that far from there.
I would certainly think they're still on it.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, it's such a bizarre case, and in this, and from what I understand too, and this makes sense to me, because of there are 4 victims, and at least 4 DNA profiles. And if there is if there is any DNA left from the killer, that there is a lot of wounds they're having to what am I trying to say? The coroner. From what I understand, it's been quite a difficult job for the coroner. So
well, there's DNA all over that house. It was a party house.
There has to be.
Right.
Probably tons of people's DNA is in that house. How do you sort that out? Now, if it's on the victim mixed with their blood, that's another story. But like a door handle or
something. Nan's Life says, do you all think it was one or more killers in Moscow? I think
I tend to think it was one.
I think it
was. I do too.
Yeah, I just think
so do I. I think they brought a machete in there and for whatever reason did what they did.
Yeah.
Hey guys.
Yes, ma'am.
I need to get off. I got something going on, but I wanted to say what a fun place to meet and talk about what else but cases, right?
True crime.
Yeah, we're not addicted. We're not addicted, Nerly. Come on,
hey,
don't go. Don't do that.
Totally not addicted. We can walk away anytime we want.
Anytime.
This is all allegations. Yes. So it was pleasure for me to join you on the panel. It was very nice to see everybody in the chat. We're going on like 3 hours and 40 minutes.
Oh, Lord.
But you guys carry on, have fun, and I'll see you probably tomorrow. It's Friday, so join us in Discord and Foul Play.
Is it Friday?
We'll probably be there tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Friday.
I thought.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, geez.
No, tomorrow. Yeah.
Merry Christmas, Neverly.
Merry Christmas, homie.
Merry Christmas to everybody. Yes, homie. And carry on. Talk to you.
All right. Thank you for
later.
joining.
My pleasure. Okay.
All right, Neverly. Take care.
Bye. Bye.
It's Friday there, Liam.
Yeah, it's Friday here.
And it's very late.
I'm
ready for.
I'm gonna head off soon myself because I gotta get some dinner. I haven't eaten dinner yet.
Yeah, you and I always do that, Jack. We do these long podcasts without eating first.
I know. You got to question our sanity sometimes, but prior to dinner, I'm that time of the afternoon, I'm generally drinking coffee. I'm not really that hungry. I mean, I'm kind of hungry, but I know if I eat, that brings on a different, you get full and you're like, it kind of slows you down. And I don't want to do that. So I wait.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, I think we just barely kind of touched some of these other cases that have been pretty big this year. I kind of took a long time with Darrell Brooks because it's my channel. I can do what I want, right?
Exactly.
But,
that's right. It's your ball. If you want to play, you can. If you want to take it, that's
exactly. So thank you, Nan's Life, for coming. You have a great evening and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And thank you so much for being here. But yeah, it was fun to just, and who knows, because like I said, I'm not quite got too much going on yet right now in Daniel's case. And I do still have Shardarian Hill that I want to do a pretty good podcast on because she's got a crazy ass story. But maybe we'll do this next week too. Instead of we'll just do a part 2 or something. If anybody's interested, and we can
absolutely kick a few cases around. Sure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Don't we have more than Shardarian to do though? Like
we do. We do have more. We do have more than Shardarian, but she's the only thing that Brian Bates has a podcast on.
Oh, we're gonna have to work harder on the other ones.
Yeah, we're gonna have to put a little more effort into the rest.
Yeah.
Did he put a new episode out, Rhonda?
Not that I'm aware of. But
Okay.
now that you say that, I think he was waiting for the civil suit to end so that he could start. But I also know he's in law school, so
Oh, okay.
So yeah, maybe we'll just plan on that. I'll just do another one of these. We'll do a New Year's potpourri next week and next Thursday, and we'll just kick around some more cases that have been a little interesting to us. And if you have any ideas, those of you who are in chat, of anything you'd like us to talk about, or show clips of or whatever, let me know in the comments, and we'll do as much as we can. Because
Yeah, we
There you
might
go.
we might be getting a wee bit forward with Luke's case as well.
Good.
And we've
Awesome.
discovered that the police have been destroying evidence,
I saw
which they shouldn't be doing until at least 2026, because he had an appeal in 2014 and it's meant to be kept for 12 years. So we're hoping that's going to help with an appeal. So fingers crossed on that.
Yeah.
Valo Daybell, case 10 is saying Valo Daybell.
Oh, that's
yes.
another one.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the
And
one I
and
was
Summer
thinking.
Wells. I want to cover that
Yeah.
one too.
Yeah, you guys could educate me about both those cases, because I really haven't stuck my head too far into those.
There's so
Yeah.
many.
There are so many. Daybell Valo is just wow. I was so
Wow.
pissed off listening to them the other day. I'll just make this quick, but they were doing a hearing and I didn't even I had to leave. I don't know what was going on in my life, but I had to leave and couldn't finish it and forgot about it. But I guess they held a sentencing conference or sentencing hearing. Was it last week or the week before? And all it was showing, I can't remember what it was showing, but it wasn't showing any of the people in the courtroom. I'm like, what the fuck? What? And then I was like, because there's no cameras in the courtroom for the rest of this crap. So
Are you talking about Valo Daybell?
Yes.
I don't think
did they plead guilty?
Not sentencing, trial date. I'm so sorry. No, they didn't.
Okay. No, they haven't been sentenced.
Yeah. No, they were setting the trial date. So I didn't finish to listen whenever the trial date is. But if anybody knows the date of the trial. But yeah, that's another great one. That and Summer Wells. I don't know as much about Summer Wells, so that's great too. All right. Well, that sounds like a plan. So we'll pick this up then next Thursday. And for tonight, it was a blast. I had a great time. I am so grateful to have all of you join me on the panel. It was fantastic. I feel so honored to have had Dr. Silkman on my channel. It was really, really, it was an honor. It's an honor to me. And
what are we, chopped liver here?
No, I know. Well, you guys, I was getting ready to finish. As always, I love having all of you guys on and to have Neverly too pop in, that was just really, really fun. And no, you guys, I appreciate all of you and Susan. May I call you Susan? Good night, Rosie. Thank you so much for coming tonight. Join us again next week and share it on Twitter or wherever you share things, and invite more to come in. But yeah, Susan and Alice and Cherie and Jack, I couldn't do this without all of you here. So of course I appreciate you guys here.
I'm just teasing you, Rhonda.
I know.
I think it's because Dr. Silkman, was he on once about the DNA? Maybe I'm not sure.
He's never been on my channel before.
Oh, okay.
No, he's never been on. So yeah, it was really awesome.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, and maybe I can get, maybe he'll be able to come back and talk about JFK.
JFK.
Jack, I really don't think he wants to, Jack, but you go ahead and keep needing.
No, I'll quit pestering. I know it's tough. I get it.
Yeah.
With everything that, so.
But so next week, same time, same channel, same panel.
Same back channel, absolutely.
Yeah, and we'll just bring your cases that you want to discuss, and we'll have a great time.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everybody in chat. It was wonderful to see so many new faces. Barb, it was amazing to see Barb here in my chat. That was fantastic. So, I mean, just people that have never been to my channel from Foul Play. It's been really nice. Case 10 and Liam.
I think
Liam,
you
thank
picked up some subscribers.
I hope so. I sure hope so.
And be sure to subscribe if you haven't.
Yeah,
already.
like,
Ring
subscribe,
that
share,
bell.
comment. Yeah. If you haven't subscribed already, please take this opportunity to do it on your way out.
Take the
Because
plunge.
I'm always this much fun. We're always this much fun, if not more. All right. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you next week. Until then, peace out.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.